Texas starters, Nathan Eovaldi and Jordan Montgomery, and especially Montgomery.
Buster Olney, the roof will be closed tonight in Arlington with the chance of thunderstorms in the area. This could be the first all-indoor World Series. Our Game 1 coverage starts at 7 Eastern here on ESPN Radio. Giants quarterback Daniel Jones out for Sunday's game against the Jets, the third game in a row he's missed with a neck injury. Tyrod Taylor gets the start. Bears quarterback Justin Fields out for a second game in a row with a dislocated right thumb. Rookie Tyson Bagent will start again Sunday against the Chargers.
Home, auto, prized sports memorabilia. Whatever you need to protect, Geico can help get you covered. And with the award-winning Geico mobile app, you can get 24/7 claim support and on-the-go policy access. It's easy to Geico. Go to geico.com today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Jacob Beck. That ain't the one, Alondra. There it is. Get crazy with the cheese was indeed Alondra Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Man, we got a ton to do today. Phil Steele in about 15 minutes from right now. No Terrio today, but we will have Pat Smith 1 hour from right now. Kind of getting a bye week check-in on the Crimson Tide. Our buddy Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel will be here in hour number 3. A lot to get to. A preview Florida Georgia, the cocktail party. Ton to do, a lot to get to. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, LSU does not play a football game this weekend, but what a gigantic win for Brian Kelly, Brad Davis, and the LSU football program. If you have not yet heard, LSU has flipped 5-star offensive tackle Weston Davis from the Aggies. Weston Davis, the number 18 overall prospect in the country, so a top 20 player at any position, the number 3 offensive tackle in the country, has flipped from your division rival to LSU. Let's get into a lot of the layers of significance with this because it's big on many, many, many levels. Let's start first with the prospect himself. So Weston Davis, 6'5.5", he's 285. As I mentioned, ranked number 18 overall in the country by On3, where he is a 5-star. This is a guy from Beaumont, so from the state of Texas, who had been committed to Texas A&M and now flips from A&M to LSU. He is the highest rated prospect in LSU's class as well. Now with this commitment, the On3, the composite has him as a 4-star, but On3 has him as a 5-star, the number 18 overall prospect in the country. So hat tip to Brad Davis, to Brian Kelly, and this LSU staff for pulling off this flip of Weston Davis. A few things. One of the things, I'm gonna sort of regurgitate this talking point, which has been something we've talked about a lot since Brian Kelly became the LSU head coach, which is the two positions more than any other during his time at Notre Dame that Brian Kelly pumped into the NFL were tight end and offensive line. We've been through it a million times. I don't need to go over all the names again. You know. And since he's come to Baton Rouge, that has not slowed at all. He is not disappointed in any way. From getting Will Campbell and Emory Jones in that first class to getting Zalance Hurd and DJ Chester and now flipping Weston Davis, and they ain't done. It's not just that he's recruiting good linemen that they're developing. They're recruiting and getting elite 5-star blue chip talent and developing them. It also helps when you can go to any one of these top 5-star prospects and say, we'll play as a freshman. Look at what we did with Will Campbell and Emory Jones. I would also not minimize the fact that this is a kid from the state of Texas who is committed to Texas A&M in your division, and you flipped him. And LSU probably is not done flipping prospects just yet. I'll get to that in a second. But the overall LSU class right now is at 26 commitments. And I think that number is really significant because it's worth reminding you that the rules had been for a long time that there was a hard cap of 25. You couldn't sign more than 25. So sometimes you had to be really intentional with your committable offers because you could only sign 25. There were a lot of years where there were prospects you wanted to take, but you had to sit and wait until signing day to see if you were going to have space for them. Guys like Foster Morrow, guys like Lloyd Cushenberry, Justin Jefferson, guys that were at the lower part of your class that had to wait to see if they were going to have a spot on signing day. Well, this isn't one of those, but the other point is you don't have to worry about that anymore because there is no hard cap. You can sign as many players as you want. You just can't go over 85 on the scholarship numbers. So LSU right now is at 26. They got 26 commits, but they may not be done. As I mentioned, there are at least 2 more 5-stars currently committed to Texas A&M that LSU has firmly in their crosshairs. One is Terry Bussey. Terry Bussey has visited LSU a couple of times already. He's a 5-star athlete out of Timpson, Texas, and he's on 3. He has him as the number 22 prospect nationally. So Terry Bussey is a guy that many think will ultimately decommit from Texas A&M, and LSU would be on the short list. So that's one worth keeping an eye on. And the other is Dominic McKinley. Dominic McKinley is the number 29 prospect in the country. He's a defensive lineman out of Acadiana High School there in Lafayette, who was down. LSU and A&M were among his finalists. He picked the Aggies. LSU has not stopped recruiting him. And I'm here to tell you, if you look at Texas A&M, and they play South Carolina this weekend, and they still got to play Ole Miss, and they still got to play LSU. And Jimbo last year, after a 5-7 season, we all know if he didn't have the massive buyout, would have been gone. But another disappointing season in College Station, which it already is, pile 2 more losses on that and go 7-5, they're going to pay Jimbo Fisher's buyout. And watch that class fall apart. So if you're an LSU fan, you're already cheering against Texas A&M. Here's even more reason to do it because you just flipped a 5-star offensive tackle, and there's at least 2 more 5-stars in that A&M class currently that you might be able to get in the boat in Baton Rouge soon as well. You know, the other component here is looking ahead to what the offensive line looks like in 2024. And it's so interesting because a year ago, we were there were a lot of you who were questioning Brad Davis. And I don't necessarily fault you because you could look at the product and say, man, LSU's offensive line was really bad. But as we often say, context matters. You used 6 line combinations in your first 8 games. You had 2 true freshmen starting at tackle in the SEC. As an LSU fan, you've come to expect an elite level regardless of circumstance. And I will always say, maintain that level of expectation. Never let that level of expectation dip. Because when you do, that's when you start to accept lesser results. I'm not saying accept lesser results, but sometimes context matters as to why things are what they were and what you inherited and how you had to turn over that offensive line. Well, as the season went along last year, the line got better, and this year they're damn dominant. And look ahead to next year, you know you've got Jones and Campbell back and Zalance Hurd. But your 3 interior offensive linemen could all choose to return. Charles Turner signed in 2019. He and John Emery are the only 2 players remaining from the national championship. And Josh Williams, by the way, those 3. But Josh wasn't a scholarship player initially, is what I meant. Charles Turner could take advantage of the COVID year and come back for a 6th season next year. Garrett Dellinger, who has been really understated. He's been very good this year. And Miles Frazier could both come back next year as well. So you could return your entire starting five. Even if you hypothetically say, let's assume all three interior players leave, you've still got Jones and Campbell. You've got Zalance Hurd. That's 3 5-stars. And DJ Chester has done very well for himself as your backup center this year, who was one of the highest-rated prospects in the class a year ago, or in this freshman class. So right there, you're talking about 4 blue chippers, and then you have another 5-star in Weston Davis coming in, and you could always supplement however you need to. And then you've got other players who are scholarship guys that have waited their turn and bided their time. Kimo Makaneoli. Obviously, you could have Marlon Martinez come back and start at left guard. That's if you lose your interior. My point is, just pull back to the 10,000-foot view and look at this offensive line group and how rapidly they have gone from what they were in the season opener last year, where Garrett Dellinger was your starting center, to now they're one of the best lines in the entire country, and you are going to have 5-star blue chippers now at least through 2026. Brian Kelly knows the offensive line. Brad Davis knows how to recruit and develop it, and that is a huge, huge part of this entire offense continuing to flourish. Maybe not at a historic level like this one is. There's a lot of factors that weigh in there, but consider what they have been able to do in 3 consecutive recruiting classes now in recruiting the offensive line. Blue chip 5-star talent on the offensive line, and you can see why Brian Kelly's reputation preceded him at this position. 5-star Weston Davis flips from Texas A&M to LSU. LSU don't play this weekend, but they got a major win nonetheless. All right, our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with our friends over at Bud Light. Man, so fired up if you saw the news this week. Bud Light and the UFC, y'all know I'm a big MMA fan. Bud Light and the UFC announced their partnership, are rejoining again. So when you see fights in the octagon, you'll see that Bud Light logo as well. Fired up for that partnership. And certainly all of our friends at Mockler Beverage. Mockler has been a great local partner here in Baton Rouge and the greater Baton Rouge area. Of course, they've got their Homa office as well, so down in the Bayou region and the river parishes. Man, our friends over at Mockler Beverage have been great community partners. And tomorrow, Saturday the 28th, is the Alzheimer's Walk to Remember 5K, which is sponsored by Michelob Ultra, another part of the Anheuser-Busch Mockler Beverage family. Walk to Remember is the largest event in the greater Baton Rouge area, raising awareness regarding Alzheimer's disease, which funds and supports programs and services Alzheimer's provides to local families affected by Alzheimer's and other memory-related impairments. So, hat tip to our friends at Mockler Beverage for the great work that they do, and drink easy in Louisiana with Bud Light. Okay, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. When we come back, as we do every single football Friday, we catch up with Phil Steele. We'll preview the biggest games of the college football weekend. Phil Steele is next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 great hotel properties in Baton Rouge. The Watermark, downtown, gorgeous. Baton Rouge's original high-rise building. It's the old Louisiana National Bank building. If you've never been in it, they have preserved so much of the gorgeous history of that building while modernizing it. I could not recommend highly enough going to get a reservation for Saturday or Sunday brunch at the Gregory right there in the lobby. And if you think, Matt, I don't want to go downtown, it's hard to park, there's complimentary valet parking at the Gregory when you eat at the Gregory there at the Watermark. The lobby bar is a great place if you're going out this Friday night or this weekend and you need a place for a glass of wine or a cocktail. Enjoy the Gregory, where they have a charcoal oven in the lobby there in the restaurant. It's incredible. There's gorgeous smells just wafting through the air. You got to check out the Gregory inside of the Watermark Hotel in downtown Baton Rouge. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance, 2 amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards. which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly One Cigar Bar.
It's Football Friday. What else would we do but visit with our buddy Phil Steele? Of course, philsteele.com, presented by Gage, Louisiana's #1 Cummins dealer, predicting and previewing the biggest games of the college football weekend. Phil, always our pleasure. How are you?
You know, I'm doing great, Matt. How about yourself?
Low-key week, man. Bye week for LSU, so we're all just kind of sitting back watching the rest of the college football world beat up on each other before next week. Pretty big one in Tuscaloosa. But as we start, man, there's a really big one going on in Lawrence, Kansas. How about this one, Phil? Kansas has been sneaky good. Oklahoma's undefeated, #6 in the country, leading the Big 12. But, man, if there's ever one that just had big, like, flashing lights that was like, trap spot, it's this one. Oklahoma at Kansas. The Sooners are a 9-point road favorite. Is Boomer on upset alert this weekend?
You know, I actually like Oklahoma this week
to
win this one by more than the 9 or 10. In fact, if you go back and look at this series, Oklahoma's won the last 18 games in this series. And here's the interesting stat for you, Matt. All 18 have been by double digits. So with the line at 9, 9.5, if series holds true to form, they get this. And then I like the fact that last week, if you watch the first quarter against UCF, Oklahoma had 3 long drives, but they settled for 2 field goals, missed them both, got a touchdown on the other drive, and Kansas had 1 first down on their first 4 drives. I think Oklahoma started playing with its food a little bit last week. Took their foot off the accelerator, and as it was, they barely escaped with the 2-point win. I don't think they show any let-up this week. And with Kansas, their defense really has me troubled. They're giving up 5.1 yards per carry. Oklahoma will be able to run the ball. They're giving their opponents 34 yards above their season average. I do like Kansas's offense, but Oklahoma's got the much better defense, and I think they survived their scare last week. I like the Sooners this week.
Let's go to the SEC, Phil. Still in that 11 a.m. Central slate. South Carolina at Texas A&M. And, Phil, that line has continued to climb during the week. I'm looking at 16.5 right now. One point earlier in the week, I think it was 14.5. But,
yeah,
man, we know South Carolina's defense is atrocious, but what really is A&M playing for? This is an interesting spot for Shane Beamer's Gamecocks going on the road at 11 a.m. there in College Station.
Yeah, and it actually opened up at 14 earlier this week, and so it just keeps climbing. I think when you look at this game, the thing I look at is, Texas A&M, yes, they have 3 losses, but looking at them a little bit closer, I think losing at Miami is not really that bad of a loss. Miami's going to be a really good team at the end of the year, and had they taken a knee, they'd only have 1 loss right now. Then you look at the Alabama game. They led that one at the half, 17-10, came up just short, and then after playing a massive home game against Alabama, they had to go on the road and play Tennessee, and Tennessee was fresh off a bye. It was a great situation for the Volunteers. They got that punt return touchdown, and they lost. I still think A&M is one of the most talented teams in the country. They can harass the quarterback, which they will here. South Carolina's given up 31 sacks this year. South Carolina can't run the football, and they're playing with legitimate revenge. If you go back to last year's game, I think at one point South Carolina led that thing 17-0, and yet had 1 first down. It was a kick return touchdown, interception return touchdown, things like that were happening. So it was a tough loss for them. The last time South Carolina traveled here to A&M, at the half it was 31-0 with a 268 to 11 yard edge. I think A&M off a loss, off a bye, at home, big talent edge. I like the Aggies minus the points in this one.
Well, that number's climbing as well. I'm looking at 16.5 right now. So if it keeps going that way, if you want to play it, get on it now before it keeps going up. The cocktail party, Phil, down in Jacksonville. Florida's offense all of a sudden has a pulse, and Georgia doesn't have Brock Bowers. So I look at that line, it's 14.5, but is this one in a rivalry game where maybe Florida keeps it close?
Yeah, and generally this game's not close. It's usually a big blowout, but I like that half point because I had Georgia by about 10 to 14 points in this game, getting over 14. As you mentioned, Florida's offense is playing much better, over 400 or close to 500 yards each of the last 2 games. I think they can be physical with Georgia at the line of scrimmage. Now, I wasn't wild about Florida's other 2 games away from the swamp. Lost at Utah. Lost to Kentucky. Both were bad games for them. But this one's a neutral site, so it's not like they're playing on the road. And as you mentioned, no Brock Bowers. That's the key weapon for Georgia. I do think Georgia's the better team, wins this game probably by about 10 to 14. But as long as you're getting that extra hook in there, I like Florida plus the points in this one.
Phil Steele is with us, philsteele.com. Make sure you get to YouTube. Take that Phil Steele Plus tour. It's free. You get free selections. We'll tell you more about that. Our chats with Phil are brought to you by Gage, Louisiana's #1 Cummins dealer. Let's go out west in the Pac-12, Phil. Oregon at Utah. And the thing that stands out, and you have trained me well, this game is in Salt Lake. So I look at Utah at home where they're a different team. As you've told us, they're getting 6.5 points. What do you think about the Ducks? Is this one where they could be on upset alert?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Matt. If this game was being played in Autzen Stadium, I'd like the Ducks by 21. I think they would roll in that game. However, as you mentioned, Rice-Eccles, Utah just doesn't lose there. And last week they impressed me. Going into USC, I liked the Trojans last week to beat them with the road. They're an average team on the road. They're great at home. And they got the late comeback. They got the field goal. They got the win last week. I think that gives them a lot of confidence. Love what I'm seeing out of Sione Vaki, the safety who's been playing on the offensive side of the ball. He's a dangerous runner, dangerous receiver. He's giving them some offense. Defensively, these 2 teams are fairly close. They give an edge to Utah. While I think Oregon is a better team, in fact, they're #1 in my AGG or average game grade, Matt. I got to take Utah plus the points. Frankly, I thought the line would be 3 on this game. I'm surprised it's up near a touchdown with Utah at home.
A couple more here before we grab a break. We'll get to the evening windows. Let's grab one out of the ACC, Phil, where you've got a little bit of a logjam there like you do in the Big 12 as well. And Duke at Louisville, this is one of the ranked-on-ranked matchups this weekend. The homestanding Cards are laying 4.5. Riley Leonard, his health is a question I know a lot of people are concerned about with that Duke team. What do you think about Duke going on the road at Louisville with the Cards laying 4.5?
Well, remember 2 weeks ago, Matt, my situational play was take Pitt over Louisville. Great situation, off a bye, catching Louisville off that big game against Notre Dame, and look what happened. Pitt pulled the upset 38-21. Well, this week, one of the big situational plays would be Louisville. They're off a loss. They're at home. And by the way, the home team, I believe, has covered 14 straight games in Louisville games. So they're another team like Utah that plays a lot better at home. Meanwhile, Duke is coming off the big effort against Florida State at night, having to travel again. And last week after Riley Leonard left the game, Duke had 35 yards on offense. And while their defense is among the nation's leaders in scoring defense, they're not up there as far as yardage goes. They gave Clemson 422 yards. They gave Notre Dame close to 400 yards. Last week, Florida State got 420 yards on them. So the better teams can move the football in the Duke defense. I like the situation this week. I'm taking Louisville minus the points in that one.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at DraftKings right now. That number's up to 6 now. So that has been a pretty popular play with the Cardinals at home. One more here, Phil, before we grab a break. Let's go into the SEC. Two of the most offensively challenged teams in the conference. It's Mississippi State at Auburn. Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers, great effort last week, but came up short against Ole Miss. Auburn is a 6.5-point home favorite against Mississippi State. Does Auburn and Hugh Freeze get that evasive SEC win?
Yeah, and you know what, Matt, the last 2 weeks I've had Auburn on my Phil Steele Plus tour, and they've lost both weeks. Other than using Auburn, it's 11-1, 11-3 with Auburn thrown in there. So a little disappointed.
They've done you wrong, man.
Yeah, but you know what? I've watched their games, and I still think they have the talent to get this one done. And you look at who they just played. They played A&M, Georgia, LSU, and Mississippi, arguably the 4 top teams in the SEC, and they just played them in 4 straight weeks. They played Georgia within 7. They played Ole Miss they lost that game by a half a point against the spread. And then you look at Mississippi State. Now, last week they took advantage of a banged-up Arkansas, playing a similar gauntlet. But here's the difference. Arkansas didn't have a bye week. Auburn had a bye week 2 weeks ago, so they're not as beat up as Arkansas was last week. Mississippi State had just 205 yards offense against Arkansas. Now they got to go to Jordan-Hare. I think Mississippi State's offense continues to struggle without Will Rogers. I like Auburn, and I'm willing to lay the 6.5 at home. I'll go for it one more time. They don't cover for me this week, man. I'm jumping off the Tiger bandwagon, but I really like Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Phil Steele is with us. We'll knock out a quick break. Of course, our chats with Phil every week are brought to you by Gage, Louisiana's #1 Cummins dealer. Get your estimate today at GageGenerators.com. That's GageGenerators.com. We'll come back and talk about the afternoon and night slate with Phil Steele when we continue here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Y'all, Halloween is coming up on Tuesday. If you're having a little Halloween get-together, if you need chili and all the fixings, you can get it over at Rouse's. And remember, Rouse's is also locked in their low price every day. You'll pay the same low price every day through the end of the year on so many great items. Like you can go get snack pack pudding. Where's my snack pack? 4 for $5. Billy Madison reference. Quaker Instant Grits and Oatmeal, $3.19. That's for the 12 ounce for the rest of the year. The DeWaffle Baker pancakes, 2 for $8, all for the rest of the year. So great prices every day at Rouse's. Make sure you look for the Rouse's branded products as well. That Rouse's R logo, you know they've sourced it locally everywhere they can at Rouse's. The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Delivery and curbside pickup options are available. Check out the Rouse's app or go to Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Life in Louisiana is a song. a symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, cruising along with Phil Steele. Do it every single Football Friday, previewing the biggest games of the college football weekend. Phil, let's jump into the Big 12, where after Oklahoma, there is a 4-team logjam at 3-1. One of those teams, of course, is Iowa State, which is at Baylor this weekend. And that is a short line. Baylor is catching 3 at home. What do you think? Are the Cyclones? I keep asking this, Phil. I just feel you're gonna call an upset somewhere in college football this weekend. Is it the Cyclones on the road at Baylor?
It's quite possible. This is one of those games, Matt, though, that I consider a true toss-up game. When I look at Iowa State, they are a play-on team. In fact, as you mentioned, 3-1 in the Big 12. I thought they dominated Cincinnati, really took care of TCU, even beat a red-hot Oklahoma State at home. So they're an outstanding team. But Baylor, while they haven't looked good this year and they're just 3-4, this is one of those circle-the-wagon games. You know, they're at home. They need a win. They're coming off a win. They did beat Cincinnati, but they absolutely need a win here. I think Iowa State's a slightly better team. I think Baylor's at home. I'm sort of staying away from this one. I think it's going to be a really good game.
We'll keep an eye on it, though, see if Dave Aranda and the Bears can get in gear. Out west, Southern Cal coming off the loss. And, Phil, USC's 6-2, so their championship hopes are dashed. But they're far from being out of the Pac-12 race. They're 4-1 in the Pac-12. That was their first conference loss. Now, they got a lot of heavy lifting still to do ahead, but here they go on the road to Cal. It's one of those, do you see a letdown spot for the Trojans on the road? USC is a 10.5-point road favorite here. What do you think about USC going on the road to Cal?
Yeah, I think USC is clearly the better team, should be able to win the game by 14, but let me read you the final 6 games of this USC schedule this year. They play Notre Dame, Utah at California, Washington, Oregon, UCLA. Do you see a flat spot in there, Matt?
If there is, it's this one. But, man, they got a lot ahead of them, man.
Yeah, and California's fresh off a bye. USC's disappointed. A lot of their dreams are dashed right now, and you wonder what their head thing is. I think they are the most talented team, and I haven't been overwhelmed with Cal. I mean, Justin Wilcox usually has a great defense, but the last 4 weeks they're giving up 476 yards per game, 69% completions, and they're taking on USC's offense. So I think USC has a talent, but the situation says take Cal plus the points.
All right, let's head back into the SEC, Phil. You want to talk about situational ball. This is interesting with Tennessee. They lead Bama by 13 in the first half, and then they don't score in the second half. And now they got to go on the road against Kentucky, and this is a Kentucky team that, man, they've taken their lumps this year. The Missouri loss was so disappointing, but here's Kentucky at 5-2, 2-2 in the league, and Tennessee is a 3.5-point road favorite in this one, Phil. Who do you like? Do the Vols get back on track, or do the Cats get a big home win?
Yeah, this is a great situation for Kentucky, fresh off a bye, off a loss, catching Tennessee off of Alabama. But you look at the series history here. I mean, Tennessee just absolutely dominates Kentucky. In fact, here in Lexington, they're 18-2, and I think they're the better talented team. When I look at my AGG or average game grade, it's got Tennessee playing at 116.3. It's got Kentucky playing at 97.3. So let's add 3 points in there. It's still saying Tennessee by 15 points. So I think the situation is well reflected in the line in this game. The fact it's only 3.5. And I do think Tennessee's a team that just went into Alabama and outgained Alabama for the game. They had a 404 to 358 yard edge. Really a tough loss for them last week. I think Tennessee bounces back this week. I like the Vols minus the points on the road.
A couple more for you here. Phil Steele is with us. Of course, take that Phil Steele Plus tour there at the Phil Steele YouTube channel. One that maybe doesn't have national significance as far as the rankings, but is interesting nonetheless. Coach Prime and Colorado are in the Rose Bowl against 23rd ranked UCLA. Chip Kelly's quietly done a really good job there. That's the ABC night game. Phil, what do you think, man? Does Colorado get on track here, go into the Rose Bowl, steal a win, or does UCLA keep trucking along?
Yeah, I like what I see out of UCLA this year. You look at their defense, and that's really the biggest edge they have here. I think offensively, Colorado's got some weapons, but what they don't have is a really good offensive line. They've given up 35 sacks this year. UCLA can get after the quarterback. They're getting sacks on about 10% of the plays. They've got the run game with Carson Steele. They've got the quarterback now. Ethan Garbers took over last week, didn't throw any interceptions. That was Dante Moore's bugaboo. But defensively, this thing is huge. I mean, Colorado's given their opponents 61 yards per game above their season average. UCLA is number 7 in the country defensively, holding opponents to 101 below their season average. I think they're playing with a lot of confidence. They dominated Stanford last week. I got to go with UCLA minus the points in that one.
Couple more for you here, Phil. I want to jump back into the Big 12, and you correctly a few weeks ago pegged Oklahoma State on that Friday game against Kansas State as a team that was on the come, and you nailed it there, and they've continued to truck along. They're one of those teams in that logjam we talked about that's at 3-1 in the Big 12. And here they welcome Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State is a 7.5-point home favorite. What do we think, Phil? Does Mike Gundy and the crew keep it rolling there in Stillwater?
I'm still riding the Cowboy train. Tell you that much. They've upset Kansas State, upset Kansas, upset West Virginia. They're not upsets in my mind anymore. And the key to Oklahoma State was really the game against Iowa State, one that they lost but put up 409 yards. They finally stuck with one quarterback. It was Alan Bowman. They had split 3 different quarterbacks the first 3 games and had struggled. Alan Bowman took over there, and he's really been the difference. And then Ollie Gordon running the football. This guy's a monster. He's averaging 7 yards per carry. The defense has been playing well. It's at home. It's at night. The crowd's going to be extremely loud. And the Bearcats have just lost 5 in a row. Iowa State dominated them. Baylor beat them. So they've been struggling right now. I think Oklahoma State's clearly the better team. It's one of those games, Matt, where I think the price is cheap at 7.5. I'm going to ride these Cowboys.
One more for you, Phil. Ohio State, Wisconsin, a big one in the Big Ten. There's Luke Fickell in the squad. They're catching 14.5 at home, night game at Camp Randall. What do you think, Phil? Ohio State maybe in a little bit of a lurch there?
I do think it's a tough situation for Ohio State. They're coming off that big game against Penn State. It's unusual for Ryan Day to call out the home crowd and say, hey, we need you guys to win this game. And he called out the home crowd prior, and they played a very good game against Penn State. They did, there's a couple of late scores in that game, which made it 20-12. But the defense is the best in the country. They're holding opponents to 119 yards per game below their season average. With Wisconsin, they're a team that they lost Tanner Mordecai, their starting quarterback, 2 weeks ago, but he only had 3 touchdown passes on the season. Braden Locke is a guy who was recruited for this type of offense. He originally was at Mississippi State. He had 2 touchdown passes last week. They've got Braylon Allen. They've got the situation. I think this game's rather important for Luke Fickell, the head coach of Wisconsin. Remember, he was the interim head coach at Ohio State. He sure wants to show something here. The Badgers are getting over 2 touchdowns. I like Wisconsin plus the points. And I do have if you want an underdog outright, I got one for you there, Matt.
I'd love it, please.
All right, let's take a look at some MAC action here.
Okay.
Eastern Michigan's +3 against Western Michigan. The last 4 years that Eastern's been an underdog, all 4 years, they've pulled upsets each of the 4 years. I think they're the better team. They're at home getting 3 points. They should be the favorite in this game. I like Eastern Michigan +3 to pull the upset over Western.
All right, Phil Steele. Make sure you take that Phil Steele Plus tour on the YouTube channel. Phil, tell them about the Phil Steele Plus tour. I mean, you went through the record just a bit ago, which is incredible, the work you're doing this year, and always. But, I mean, you're riding a heater. So let us know about the Phil Steele Plus tour.
Yeah, you get 4 selections right now, 4 more quick hitters. Last week they combined to go 7-2. The overall selection's an 11-3 run, and it's all free. Just go to philsteele.com, click on the Phil Steele Plus tour, and take it today, and it's absolutely free.
Our chats with Phil every week are brought to you by Gage, Louisiana's #1 Cummins dealer. For that free quote, make sure you get to gagegenerators.com. Phil, we appreciate you as always, man. Thanks so much.
Hey, Matt, a lot of fun. Have yourself a great weekend.
You do the very same. That is the one and only Phil Steele. Excited to have Phil Steele back next week when we're previewing LSU and Alabama. Stick with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. And right now, 50% off all pumpkins. Look, Halloween is on Tuesday. So if you want those pumpkins for decorating or those pumpkins for carving, all pumpkins, no matter the size, from small to super large, they've got them at Clegg's Nursery, all 4 locations. But when they're gone, they're gone. There's no more shipments coming. So make sure you get on by. It's always fun to decorate. If you want to paint or carve pumpkins for Halloween, you could do it. You can get all the pumpkins at Clegg's. Or you want to set up a really nice display on your front patio, porch, whatever it may be, Clegg's has got you covered. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. 50% off, 50% off all pumpkins until they're gone at Clegg's Nursery. And, of course, at Clegg's, they're partnered with True Value Hardware Store. So buy local, shop local for more than 60 years. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Here at Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, we have in stock 2023 Toyota Tundras, and you can get 1,000 special edition bonus cash. $1,000 bonus cash. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows.
We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at Relief Windows.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, rolling along here on a Football Friday edition of AFR. We are going to get to our, forgive me, I'm trying to type and do two things at once. We're going to get to our tailgate segment with Coben here in just a quick second. Let me update the final injury report, which is out for Saints-Colts, and then we'll get to the tailgate segment. Here you go. Only one player for the Saints is officially out. It's offensive lineman James Hurst. So Hurst is officially out for Sunday's game. And there are a whole bunch of players that are questionable. Let me just run through it. The two that did not there's one that did not practice on Friday. That was Marcus May with the illness that's going through the Saints. He's questionable. J.T. Gray, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, Taysom Hill, Alante Taylor, Max Garcia, Jimmy Graham, Andrus Peat, all questionable. Garcia, Graham, May, it's all with that illness that's been going through the organization. I'm just saying my head's getting cut off by this camera. That's what I'm telling you. And let's see, Juwan Johnson was full. That's great that he'll be back. Landon Young is available as well, which is great to see. Ryan Ramczyk also a full participant. So some of those injured offensive linemen are getting healthy, which is fantastic to see. And then for the Colts, Juju Brents, the cornerback, and Kyle Granson, their tight end, out, as is offensive tackle Braden Smith. So 3 players out. Then Eric Johnson, the running back Zach Moss, and cornerback Tony Brown are questionable for the Colts. So the Saints have a much longer injury list, but the only player that is out for Sunday as of now is James Hurst for the New Orleans Saints. So you would assume we would probably see Andrus Peat start at left tackle if he's available, but he's questionable as of right now. So does Trevor Penning go back to left tackle? Do you start Landon Young? That's the decision that the Saints are going to have to make at this point. Remember, if you want to bet on the NFL, you can on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. Remember, the NBA season is back as well. So new customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 NBA bet. Any $5 NBA bet. And they'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Win or lose. Pels play the Knicks on Saturday, but it doesn't have to be the Pels. It could be any money line, any total, any side, any futures bet, any NBA bet. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet on the NBA. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Baton Rouge. The crown is yours. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana, select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, let's do it. It's time for our Friday tailgate segment. Hit it, Alondra.
At LSU, we play hard, but we tailgate harder. Light your burner. Fire up the grill. It's time for our Football Friday tailgate recipe of the week with Chris's Specialty Foods. 3 locations or go to chrisspecialtyfoods.com.
All right, Coben's in studio with us from Chris's Specialty Foods. Let's get no tailgate this weekend, but maybe some home gates. How are you, dude?
All good. Glad to be here, brother.
Let's talk a little bit about first of all, let's talk about what you brought, and then we'll talk about what people might be able to do here in the open date. You can kill the music, Alondra. Thank you, bro. I don't need the accordion going the whole time. All right, go ahead.
All right, man. So today with the holidays, Thanksgiving coming up, we're already getting slammed with the orders. So today I brought our cornbread turducken roll.
What did you say to me?
So a lot of people know about the famous turducken, the whole turkey with the duck breast and chicken breast, which of course we have. But if you're not doing a big Thanksgiving, not having the whole family over, we also offer the turducken roll, which is just the turkey breast instead of the whole turkey. But of course, you still get your whole duck and your chicken in there, along with what it's stuffed with.
Can you zoom in on that a little bit there, Beck? So So you said it's a turducken. Say it again. A
turducken roll.
A turducken roll, which is stuffed with cornbread and what?
This one is a cornbread turducken roll. So it's a turkey breast stuffed with duck breast, chicken breast, and cornbread.
I mean, that is a sight to behold right there. Does it come sliced like that? Like, so if you're listening and not watching, there's about 8 or 9 really like healthy portion slices there. Does it come sliced, or does it come as a big roll and then you slice it?
So no, it comes a whole turkey breast in netting. So we keep that netting on it so it cooks evenly for you. So all you have to do once you cook it in the oven, cut it out the netting, and there's no bone. So you just slice however big you want it.
That is kind of crazy. How do you stuff it?
We have this. Is it the
same guy that debones the chicken in like 28
debones
seconds?
the turkeys, yep.
The same guy?
Yeah.
What's my guy's name?
Stevie Kinchin.
Shout out Stevie Kinchin. If you haven't seen the video, go to Chris's. Is it on? I know it's on Instagram
and Facebook.
So it's on Instagram and Facebook. Go to the Chris's Instagram or Facebook page. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago when you brought a deboned chicken in here. And I was like, you got to give me a video. Now, warning, if you go watch the video, like, it's a raw chicken. Like, it's a chicken carcass, right? I mean, it's just
a whole chicken.
It's a whole chicken
he's
carcass.
breaking it down.
And he is breaking it down with his knife, and he's ripping them bones out in like 30. It's impressive, but if that offends you, like, if you ain't a meat eater, you ain't gonna like that video, all right? But if you ain't a meat eater, then you're probably not finding your way to Chris's Facebook page anyway. So, but I think it's pretty phenomenal to watch this guy do this. So my same guy, Stevie, that does the deboning of the chicken, does this as well?
Yeah, so he breaks down, it comes in a whole breast with bones, and he breaks it down. And then we have these shooters that we make that we just stuff it with our cornbread and push it through, and it pushes it through a perfect netting.
That's incredible. What else? So what else are people doing? Open date? Weather's getting a little nicer. There was actually a little bit of a nice crisp in the air today, finally, for the first time in a long time. But I think middle of next week, it's supposed to really start getting nice again. What types of things might people be doing this weekend? What are they throwing on the grill, and what's a good option that y'all have?
Yeah, so like I said, we of course we have all of our soups and gumbos and stuff, and we just actually started doing gallon gumbos for it feeds about 12 to 15 people, so it's very easy. It comes in a gallon container, and it's very easy to feed a lot of people. And then we always have our same grill stuff that we always have, our hand-cut steaks, our pork tenderloins, our chickens, our burgers, all the game day needs that you have. We have all that fresh at Chris's.
3 Chris's locations. They're on Airline in Prairieville, so if you're going south on Airline into Prairieville, look to the right after you pass Walmart. Millerville, which is where you are most of the time, right? And then Lakeview in New Orleans. A shout out to our peeps in the 504. When Coben stepped in, he was talking about holiday order. So walk me through what people do here. So if you're thinking ahead to Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner and you want to not have to fool with any of the stuff, Chris's can handle all of it for you. Walk me through at the website here where people go to find it.
Yeah, so we make it very easy. You can either call one of our locations. We'll get your information, a pickup date, what you want. Or if you don't want to do that, we have an online section where you can just we have a hit order online, and you can fill out your info on there, and you can do an in-store pickup, and it's very.
What do I do? I go to look right here. Do I go to the menu, or what do I do? What do I hit?
So you'll go to the menu, and then you'll select off the items that you want, and then once you build you like a little cart, you'll just do an in-store pickup, and you can come and pick it up.
All right, look at that. A little turkey in there, a little turducken, whatever it might be. Take care. Let Chris's take care of your Thanksgiving meal this year. Not only the turkey, but ham, all the sides as well. We'll do everything for you over at Chris's. ChrisSpecialtyFoods.com. ChrisSpecialtyFoods.com. Or do what I do every now and again. Just swing on by that Airline Highway location. Grab me a little ribeye, throw it on the grill on a Sunday night. Not a bad way to go about it. All right, no LSU game this weekend, so we'll chillax a little. You got early thought on Bama? You don't have to give a pick yet. You're going to pick LSU. I know you are because that's what you do.
It's all right.
Gotta keep
the home state happy.
Everybody's going to be so mad at me next week when I pick Alabama. I'm going to be such a buzzkill because vibes are going to be so good next week.
Yeah.
I mean, LSU's playing well. Jaden Daniels he's awesome. The offense is fantastic.
The only bad news is I think Jalen Milroe throws a very, very pretty deep ball, and our DBs are very suspect. So the deep ball scares me, man. But I think we can definitely play with these guys, but the deep ball from Jalen Milroe scares me big time.
Well, I mean, they're running the ball too really well right now, which is and it's not Milroe running. We've talked about this a little bit. Milroe doesn't run the ball anymore.
He only runs when he has to.
I mean, go look at his rushing statistics. I mean, he's usually in the negative rushing yardage because of the sack yards, and that's one thing they don't. But McClellan running the ball, Roydale Williams, like they have established a running game to complement their deep passing game. So I wish that game was in Baton Rouge, bro. If it was here, I'd pick LSU, no problem, man. Going on the road to do it, I feel like we've seen that game a bunch already this year where you just get offense has got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Offense is just going to have to be perfect a week from Saturday. All right, appreciate Coben in studio, ChrisSpecialtyFoods.com. Y'all get on by and see our friends over at Chris's. Thanks, dude.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
It's radio, bro. You got to speak into the mic. All right, here we go. Our Sports Center, hour 2 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. I want to remind you, next week, y'all, it's hard to believe this is already here. Next Thursday is Christmas in November. Christmas in November, best prices of the year. One day only sale. The Baton Rouge Christmas in November is on November the 2nd. That's a week from yesterday. We're 6 days away. The Lafayette event is a week later on November the 9th. So shout out to our friends in the 337. But they have live music. They have food and cocktails. It's all complimentary. They have giveaways throughout the night, and it's the one night only best prices of the year. You don't have to use the things that you buy that night. You can have them on your ticket in your account to use whenever you want, but you have to buy them that night. So do not miss Christmas in November. Botox, body contouring, fillers, lipo, HRT, all the stuff we talk about next Thursday.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The Rangers and Diamondbacks open the World Series tonight in Arlington. Before the season started, Texas was a 50-1 shot to win the title. Arizona was 125-1. But defying the odds makers has kind of become the Diamondbacks' thing in this postseason. ESPN's Jesse Rogers.
They've been underdogs for 4 straight rounds, including this one. They're just as big an underdog in this series as they were last round. So all this stuff is out there, and they're using it. Zach Gallen talked about his family being kind of surprised that he's in the World Series.
Jesse Rogers, every pitch of the World Series right here on ESPN Radio. Our Game 1 coverage starts tonight at 7 Eastern. Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray may play Sunday against the Ravens. Coach Jonathan Gannon isn't ruling out Murray, who hasn't played since tearing his right ACL last December. He's officially listed as doubtful. NBA doubleheader tonight on ESPN starting at 7:30 Eastern. Celtics and the Heat, followed by the Kings and the Warriors.
Home, auto, prized sports memorabilia, whatever you need to protect, Geico can help get you covered. And with the award-winning Geico mobile app, you can get 24/7 claim support and on-the-go policy access. It's easy to Geico. Go to geico.com today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid. Jacob Beck. Alondra Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. I did realize when Beck and Alondra, when you were both here, the drops are long, loud, and aggressive. From those two songs. Anyway, I dig it. Appreciate y'all for hanging. You can tell it's an open date. Hunt was out today. Muso's out today. Paulie's out today. I think like half the station is just gone. They just decided not to show up. But nonetheless, next week's a huge one. It's LSU and Bama. It's why we welcome aboard our friend Pat Smith from Three Man Front there on Jocks FM in Birmingham. Wanted to get an open date sort of check-in on the Tide to see how things have gone. Pat, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Matt, I'm doing great, man. It's kind of weird having a bye week. And, of course, in our state, we got Auburn and Mississippi State coming up tomorrow. So not a lot of people paying much attention to that. Now, we've got our eyes set on next Saturday at Bryant-Denny.
Yeah, man, look, I think everyone is obviously looking ahead to that one. One of the big storylines here has been the health of a lot of players defensively. Where is Alabama just from an availability standpoint and where this open date fell for them?
It was perfect, Matt, and it's interesting because I was listening to your lead-in and you were talking about the health of the LSU team. Last night, Nick Saban admitted on air that there were at least a half dozen players that really haven't been able to practice this week because of the fact that they've had all these bumps and bruises over the first half of the season. He feels confident that the majority of them, he didn't give us any names, but he felt pretty confident that before we get to kickoff next Saturday, they're going to be available. But there's no question. I mean, the same goes for LSU. When you get to this point of the season and you have played that gauntlet in the SEC and you play a tough non-conference schedule like Bama played Texas, like LSU, of course, played Florida State, then you're going to have some guys that's going to be banged up. And so right now, this could not have come at a better time. So we'll see once we get into next week, well, Monday and Tuesday at practices. There's no doubt that this team's beat up a little bit.
Pat, whenever you look at Bama from the first month where they of course lost to Texas and they were still trying to feel out what was going to happen there at quarterback and how the offense was going to ultimately mold. What was the biggest difference from September Alabama to October Alabama?
Well, they still have issues on offensive line, Matt, but the biggest thing is that the defense. All spring and going into the summer with Kevin Steele leading the defensive unit, everybody starts saying, you know what, we're going to get back to that type of Alabama defense that was able to shut down the opposition when you need to get off the field on third down. And then all of a sudden, really after the Texas game, they had a lot of mistakes, a lot of issues. That was, of course, famously Lane Kiffin comes out a couple weeks later and says that Kevin Steele's not even calling the defense anymore. It kind of rallied the defense, to be honest with you, because they played a heck of a game against Lane Kiffin. They go on the road to College Station and they get the stops when they needed to. Kind of turned the corner. So for me, the biggest difference is just this is back to being a nasty type of Alabama defense where they kind of forgot about it. I mean, when you had the quarterbacks that you had with Tua and with Mac Jones and, of course, with Bryce Young, you could score 50 points a game, and you didn't have to worry about the defense. But now they feel pretty good. They did a really nice job after that first quarter against Tennessee, kind of bottling them up and stopping what they did well, which was running the football. Now, I know that they've got a tougher task upcoming this Saturday against LSU. But for me, Matt, that is the biggest change in this football team. I think everyone realizes that they're not going to be able to play bully ball, which they originally thought that they were going to be able to do running the football because the offensive line just has not turned out to be as good as they thought it was going to be. But for the most part, they're relying on that defense.
Pat Smith's with us. He's on Twitter at Pat Smith Radio, coach the three-man front there on Jocks FM in Birmingham. Where is that Alabama defense vulnerable?
If you'd have asked me that, obviously the Texas game, I would have said the defensive interior. But, Dallas Turner has really come on his own. You've got a lot of young guys that have been able, because of some injuries of the linebacker core, they have been able to find their own self probably on the back end. I mean, Caleb Downs, he's a five-star freshman, that he's going to be really good, Matt, once he gets all that experience. He got burned a bunch in the Texas game. And, of course, each week he gets more opportunities, more experiences. He's trying to learn from those mistakes. So I'd probably have to say on the back end, which if you're an Alabama fan, that's what probably concerns you the most going up against Jane Daniels and that high-powered offense that you guys have down at LSU.
If we flip it over, you have mentioned several times, Pat, the offensive line. And look, I mean, I've watched enough of Alabama this year to see the sack numbers are startling. But I've also noticed, Pat, they've gotten that run game going with McClellan, with Williams. Is it fair to characterize the offensive line as struggling in pass protection, but they've kind of found their groove a little bit in that running game?
Yes, and the other thing about pass protection, of course, Cole Kublik would be able to probably give you a better a diagram and a breakdown exactly what they're doing and not doing in pass pro. But I can tell you this. I know for a fact, especially in the Texas game, there were multiple opportunities where Jalen Milroe just basically held on to the ball too long. Like if you looked at the All-22 video, you were able to see that he would lock in on one guy, didn't go through his progressions, and then all of a sudden he's taking a sack. Each week he's getting a little bit better about that internal clock, about, being able to get rid of it and not taking a sack. So although the numbers look really, really bad, I think from a standpoint of pass pro, a lot of that has to fall on the quarterback, not being able to get rid of the ball and not being able to read what he properly needs to read. That's been the biggest issue. But like in the second half of that Tennessee game, the Alabama people around that program told me last week that they were more concerned about Tennessee's front four on defense than they were Texas A&M's. And needless to say, Texas A&M's got, startling numbers on that defensive front. They were very concerned with that. But they were able to come out in the second half, and they played the type of so-called bully ball that's like they like to say in Tuscaloosa, about trying to move that line and try to establish the run, because it was McClellan's run on the first play from scrimmage to start the second half that kind of springboarded the whole second half for Alabama offensively.
Pat Smith for a couple more minutes here on Twitter at Pat Smith Radio. Y'all give him a follow, three-man front there, Jocks FM in Birmingham. Pat, what's the general, like, aside from the game itself, like the X's and O's, 60 minutes on the field, what's the general vibe around the Alabama program as a whole right now, finger on the pulse?
After the Tennessee game, it's probably been the highest it's been in a couple of years, Matt, to be completely honest with you. Because I will tell you, after what you saw at South Florida and after you saw the quarterbacks after Jalen Milroe, folks were absolutely dumbfounded. I mean, they started looking at that schedule and they started going, oh, my God, we've got Lane Kiffin coming up. We've got to go to College Station. Then you got Tennessee. Then, oh, my gosh, then we got LSU. Oh, by the way, we've got to go on the road to Kentucky, and then we still have to go to Auburn. So all of a sudden the fan base started scratching their head going, oh, where are all these wins going to come from? But they kind of righted the ship. Jalen Milroe's gotten a little bit more comfortable being the quarterback. And this team, based on the people I talk to, and you hear Nick Saban talking about it, it's really a good group. I mean, they have bought into all the, the process conversations and the speeches that you hear all the time from Nick Saban. So with that being said, the guys have really bought in, and they've been able to use those positives and learning experiences to try to get better. So from the fan standpoint, it's never been higher all season long. They're disappointed in the Texas loss, but now seeing the way things have worked out, they kind of knew that something like that was probably going to have to happen for them to get their head screwed on straight to look forward for the rest of the year.
All right, Pat, last thing for you, man. What would a win against LSU mean for the program? What would a loss to LSU mean for the program a week from Saturday?
Well, the win, needless to say, I mean, you clinch the SEC West. You get to go back to Atlanta, which most Alabama fans feel like that's your birthright since 1992.
Yeah.
And then, you have an opportunity to go up against the Georgia team that without Brock Bowers, what's going to happen tomorrow against Florida? All of a sudden they've got some chinks in their armor. So I think Alabama fans feel pretty good. But a loss Saturday, then all of a sudden all those questions that you had after the Texas game, they're going to start bubbling back up to the surface. And then all these people are going to start saying, well, I mean, are we going to be able to go to Kentucky and get a win? And then all of a sudden, the game at Auburn is the game at Auburn. I mean, that's a weird, wacky place where it doesn't matter what the record is. Something strange is going to happen. Just ask Georgia this year against Auburn. So, I think Alabama with a win, all of a sudden we're talking about possibly being back in the college football playoff, but definitely a loss. Then you're back to asking those same questions, Matt, that we asked the second week of the season.
It's never short of drama when LSU and Alabama play. Another installment a week from Saturday. Pat, we appreciate it, man. Have a great weekend. Thanks for the time.
Hey, thanks, brother. Talk soon.
Okay, man. That's Pat Smith on Twitter at Pat Smith Radio, a co-host of three-man front there on Jocks FM in Birmingham. Pat's been around forever. Pat and I met years and years ago. Pat co-founded the Feinbaum Show on Jocks FM with Paul however many years ago, and Pat's Paul, of course, went to the SC Network, and Pat stayed at Jocks, but Pat does an awesome job. There's a few people better with sort of their finger on the pulse there in Birmingham of the Tide. All right, we're brought to you by Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service. I was walking down the hall earlier today, actually on the second floor, and our friend The Brain stopped me. He said, oh, I wanted to tell you, a few weeks ago when the weather kind of got cold, of course, sometimes you'll see air pressure in tires shrink when it's cold, naturally. And so I pulled into Shawbill's. It's like they didn't even look me up in a computer or take my name or anything. They just said, yeah, just pull right there. Bzz, 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 bzz. Just filled up his tires, on his way. That's what they do. It's Shawbill's. Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. Not that they're in the habit of just giving out free services, but sometimes it's just the right thing to do to treat people right. And when they treat you right year after year after year, you keep coming back year after year after year to buy tires or for whatever vehicle maintenance you may need. That's Shawbill's. With 18 locations, they started in Morgan City, moved up into Baton Rouge, all points in between, Lafayette, Youngsville, of course, Port Allen, West Baton Rouge, Denham Springs. It's our friends over at Shawbill's. Find the location nearest you. Schedule service online at ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbill's, where we keep you rolling. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Because we had Phil Steele in the first hour, we missed around the SEC, so we'll get to that in about 15 minutes from right now. When we come back, I say this often. Sometimes you are my best eyes and ears. I'm one guy.
AFR.
Do I go or what do I do? Don't do my life? Okay. The thing has a mind of its own sometimes. Alondra's sitting over there, and that happens to Musso sometimes. So I think I don't want our affiliates.
I was about to say, I actually think you should do the live because the affiliates, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
No worries. It's after further review. We're brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Two things I want to remind you about. Number one, last Monday, the state of Louisiana opened the second round of grants for Fortified roofing. So if you go to the website, hudcoroofing.com, no matter where you are in the state, from Bossier to Baton Rouge and all points in between, go to hudcoroofing.com, hit the green Fortified tab right there on the homepage, and it'll give you all the info about Fortified. This is up to $10,000 in grants to fortify your roof, and Hudco is Louisiana's first certified fortified roofing company. So we can help you out. Go fill out the form on the homepage. We'd love to help you out. Also, I know I keep mentioning this, but if you have a commercial building, flat roof, metal roof, Hudco has a silicone coating product, which is roughly half the cost of a roof replacement, that comes with a 20-year warranty. Learn more. Hudco Roofing and hudcoroofing.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade, time to slip away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me, like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Look, I mean, I think we've had a good week of practice, and I don't think that's been a challenge. You know, we just got to go out and perform on Sunday.
Appropriate. Dennis Allen. That's a song called Living Dead Girl. He's not a girl, but he might as well be the living dead right now, the Saints coaches. As it certainly feels like Dennis Allen is living on borrowed time as the Saints coach right now. Maybe that's presumptive on my part. Maybe Mrs. Benson and Mickey Loomis and Dennis Lauscha and the brass at the New Orleans Saints are going to stay committed to Dennis Allen. We haven't seen a coach of the New Orleans Saints save an interim situation, last only 2 years. But if this thing nosedives, then you could certainly see that happening. And part of what I know we've talked about here throughout this week, in the past several weeks, is a lot of the optics. We talked about Derek Carr yelling at Chris Olave, or last week when Derek Carr was yelling at Pete Carmichael, or some of the guys going on social media, the comments Alvin Kamara made publicly after the Texans loss, where he talked about guys making sure they're doing everything they need to be doing right, sort of intimating that maybe players aren't completely bought in. And some of those things happen everywhere. But when you're losing, it's magnified. All of those things that are symptoms of an organization that's off course get magnified because of the very noticeable objective data that's there for you. The Saints offense is one of the worst in the NFL now for the second consecutive year. They're one of the worst teams in the red zone, less than 40% conversion, which is atrocious, which is something that's followed Derek Carr throughout his career. You've missed opportunities in very winnable games against Green Bay and Houston. It's just when you have all of this confluence of circumstance that come together, then yes, everything's going to be magnified. So then there was this. And I often say to you that sometimes you're my best eyes and ears because I'm one guy. And yes, we have Paulie and Musso who work on the show as well, and they do an awesome job. But there's so much content out there, it's not possible for me to consume everything and to know everything. So sometimes you all hear or see something, and you send me a text or a tweet or a note and say, did you see this? And I'm always grateful for that because sometimes I miss things. And there's a listener named Troy who sent me this. And it was Saints Insider over at NOLA.com. And it's a panel. And on the panel is our buddy Jeff Duncan. And in this clip, which the clip runs about 40 seconds, but you're going to hear Jeff start this by relaying something that he was told that is a massive concern, but also a very clear illustration of why things are going the way that they are, and a validation of all the things we keep talking about here when I keep telling you that Dennis Allen is a lieutenant, not a general. Dennis Allen is the substitute teacher at the front of the class. Again, here's what Jeff Duncan, longtime Saints beat writer and columnist, listen to this.
I mean, look, I did hear some stuff this week that was troubling to me, like, they did some, and we haven't reported this, but we can say it on the podcast, like during the crisis a couple weeks ago, they did an eval of the this is what somebody in the building told me, an eval of the Microsoft Surface tablets that the players have. And there was like 30 players that haven't opened their tablet during the week. That's the problem. That's the attention to detail.
I just want to repeat that, or have you repeat that, Jeff. I mean, 30 players out of what is that including practice squad guys? You got 68. Anyway, about half the team isn't even looking at their tablet.
That's incredible. Roughly half the team. So every player is issued a tablet, and on the tablet you get game film. So you'll have the all 22, and for every game you'll see a sideline view and an end zone view sequentially of the all 22 of offense and defense in every play, so you can look at film. What Jeff is saying there is 30. Someone in the Saints facility told him that 30 players have not even opened their tablet. 30 players. 30. It's unconscionable. But when you look at the product on the field, doesn't that make sense? When you have receivers running routes and they end up on the same corner of the field and you're like, why is that guy next to each other? When protections are messed up, when coverages are messed up, like, it makes sense. You've got Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael, who nobody fears. Think about sort of the infamous stories in the NFL of players neglecting film study. There's the story back when Lane Kiffin had Jamarcus Russell in Oakland. And you've probably heard the story relayed, but Lane gave Jamarcus a blank DVD and said, "This is game film. Go watch it. We'll talk about it tomorrow." Jamarcus didn't know it was blank. Came in the next day, said, "What did you think?" And Jamarcus BS'd his way through an answer. And Lane knew he didn't even look at it because he gave him a blank DVD. If you watch the Johnny Manziel Netflix documentary, you heard the same thing. Johnny Manziel acknowledged he never looked at film, ever. Practice was over. He was out the building, was out partying. It's not a surprise. Those guys were giant busts. They didn't put in the work. It's pretty evident that what you're seeing on the field is an illustration of what Jeff Duncan said right there. And oh, by the way, let's not lose sight of the messenger as well. Don't lose sight of this. That's someone in the Saints organization going to a reporter, a columnist, who's Jeff Duncan's super respected. I mean, among the most respected, who's been on this beat forever. That's someone inside the Saints organization going to a media member saying, half our roster hadn't even opened their tablets. What do you think's going to happen with that information? You're airing out your dirty laundry. It's the thing we keep talking about here. Every family has their strife. Everybody's got their skeletons. Everybody's got their dirt. Everybody's got those things. Every family and every organization. An organization, just think of it as a large family unit. Think about your family. You got kids. Your kids have done stupid things that you don't want public, right? It doesn't mean you love your kids any less, but there are teachable moments you don't want to out them publicly. The embarrassment or whatever it may mean. So you handle it a certain way. An organization's no different. You want to make sure that you would say whatever you got to say behind closed doors, but publicly you're unified. And that's the most concerning thing about all of this. Because publicly, this organization, the players, the coaches, internally, the people who are speaking to media, it's clear they're not unified. There's a lot of frustration and discouragement going on right now. And it's manifesting itself when the team takes the field. It's obvious for everybody to see, which is why when you keep hearing stories like this, and every day it's Chris Olave arrested for being a knucklehead, going 70 and a 35 in a residential area. It's 30 players haven't opened their tablets. It's Derek Carr continuing to scapegoat. 10 years ago, man, everybody cursed at everybody. Like, there's no accountability because the guy at the front of the room, nobody respects. And that's the reality. And it's just not going to improve. Because for this to change, for this to improve, Dennis Allen has to be somebody or something he is not. Like, y'all, last year, whenever it was very clear that they had made a poor decision in hiring Dennis Allen, I sat in this chair on this microphone and said, not every lieutenant is meant to be a general. Dennis Allen is not a head coach. It's just clear. I understand, and to go back to the point of when they hired him, I was okay with, this isn't any hindsight 2020. I was okay with them hiring him. It made sense why they did it. A lot of coaches with their second opportunity learned lessons from their first opportunity and improved. Dennis Allen was a young head coach in an awful organization in Oakland. He had no quarterback help. I mean, he had Matt McGloin as his quarterback. I got it. So you say, look, he had that experience, learn from it. What would you do differently the second time? Come to a stable organization with a good roster that's been a perennial playoff team, good ownership, good management, and let's see what you do this time. And it's just very clear. It don't matter where you send him. It's going to tank because he's not a head coach. Great defensive coordinator, not a head coach. He is not every lieutenant was meant to be a general. Not every COO was meant to be the CEO. And that's okay. Go be great at the thing you're great at. Dennis Allen is a great defensive coordinator. Hold a play card, call a defense, and be great at that. But stop trying to be what you're not. And you're not a head coach. And the sooner the Saints are willing to acknowledge that. This is true not just in the NFL, with the Saints. It's true in business and in life. Like, the sooner you realize that you made a bad decision, like, pull the Band-Aid off. Pull the Band-Aid off. Make a change. Don't keep going down that road, because the longer you go down that road, the longer the trek it is back. So, yeah. Today the story is 30 players haven't even opened their tablet to look at game film. What's the story going to be tomorrow? Maybe the Saints go and win in Indy. They could win. Of course they could. They're going to play, an Indianapolis Colts team that's got a backup quarterback who's been a better backup than he has a starter in this league. A team that's got a good running game. A defense that's really struggled at times. I mean, yeah, the Saints could go win. Hell yeah, they could go win. They beat New England 34-0. Do you feel any differently about this team because they won in New England? Hell no, you don't. And if they win on Sunday, you're not going to feel any different about this team. Because even if they win, they're liable to lose next week at home to Chicago, because it's one step forward and 3 steps back. It's just what it's going to be for as long as Dennis Allen's the coach. And my hope is that this organization collectively realizes that mistake sooner than later and stops trying to force a round peg into a square hole, because that's what Dennis Allen is as a head coach. Okay. Now that I've gotten you so excited for your football weekend, well, now I got a quick break. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We are brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, with 31 offices across 11 different states. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, and rent the products that you use to weigh and measure. You can always get to the website at Michelli.com. Hit the services tab right there on the homepage, and you'll see all of the services that they offer and all of the industries that they service. You want to request a quote, you can. They are an ISO 17025 accredited laboratory. You want to ship your equipment to them, there's an easy customer service form to fill out right there on the homepage. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do Around the SEC again, just sort of changing things up. If you're just knocking off of work, if you're just joining us, no Terrio today. It is Houston Terrio's senior night at the Dunham School for Dunham football. So we wish the Dunham Tigers the best tonight. And glad that Ryan's going to get to go enjoy senior night with Houston. Hopefully the Dunham Tigers get a win. So good luck to all the high school football teams tonight. Hope they have a great week 9, and as we head and tread toward the postseason and the playoffs. So no Terrio, but we'll continue to truck along. The biggest game in the SEC this weekend, of course, is Florida-Georgia, the cocktail party. We're going to head down to Jacksonville to visit with our buddy Edgar Thompson in about 30 minutes from right now to preview that one. So let me knock out a break. We'll do Around the SEC again, just flipping that from the first hour. And we got Tigers and the Pros coming up as well. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. Hey, look, tonight, it's Football Friday. If you're heading out to those Friday night lights, you want to get a bite to eat before you go to the stadium, or if you want to get a really good dinner after the game, Pluckers is open till midnight or later every night of the week. So if you want to pass on the high school football concession stand where you might get like a cold hot dog or some soggy nachos, go to Pluckers. Either location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet. And, of course, they're open at 11 a.m. So if you want to plop down on your football Saturday, binge on wings and beer and watch college football all day, every Saturday, you can do it at Pluckers. And remember, they've also got the NFL Sunday Ticket. So if you don't have Sunday Ticket, you want to watch every single out-of-market game, you can do it every Sunday at Pluckers. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery, Nicholson and Bluebonnet. Remember, it's Pluckers if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Scoocha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, They've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family, a front-to-back boat service.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gotta keep them separated.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
So several months ago, when the Tyson Fury Francis Ngannou fight was announced, we sat here and I said I hate myself, but like they're going to steal my money. Like I know what I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch one guy who is the greatest heavyweight on the planet against another guy who is a devastating mixed martial artist who is going to try to be a boxer and who's going to get his ass kicked. And I know that's going to happen, but they're going to take my money from me anyway because I'm stupid and I'm going to pay to watch it, just like I paid to watch Mayweather and Conor McGregor, even though I knew exactly how that was going to go. Now, I have not bought any of the Jake Paul-Logan Paul fights. I don't care about any of that. But when I have elite mixed martial artists trying to cross over, even though I know how it's going to go, I end up watching these. I learned that Alondra is a really big boxing fan. Yeah?
I love boxing.
Who's your favorite fighter ever?
Of all time?
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali.
How many Ali fights have you watched?
All of them.
Literally?
No, I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen like his big ones, like the Sonny Liston one and et cetera, et cetera. But like, I haven't seen all of them, no. I have seen all the Canelo fights though.
Okay.
Yeah.
The wallpaper on Alondra's phone is the famous photo of Ali standing over Liston. And we had this conversation the other day because if you remember, if you were here, you might remember this. One of the Pluckers trivia questions we had from Muso one time was about who Ali fought, and he did not know it was Sonny Liston.
Wow.
When he won the championship.
Yeah.
And I was floored by that. Beck's laughing. Would you have known that?
Yes. Absolutely.
Unequivocally?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably the most iconic photo in boxing history.
Yep.
Thank you. How old are you, Beck?
26.
26, Alondra?
25.
25. Okay. So, and Muse is 29. He's about to be 30. I guess the point being, it doesn't matter if you're 25, 26, 41, 80. It doesn't matter. Like, if you're a sports fan, you've seen that photo. right? I mean, everyone is. It's. I would argue, Beck, it's not the most famous boxing photo. It's on the very, 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 very short list of most famous sports photos
probably.
ever. Like, name another sports photo that is that iconic. I mean, I could probably think about Tiger doing the fist pump at 16 at the Masters. Like everyone has seen that photo, right? Even if you don't know what it is, you've seen that photo.
Catch.
I'm sorry?
The catch, San Francisco.
Yeah, I thought about that. I feel like the video of Dwight Clark in the back of the end zone, like the end zone view of Dwight Clark, is something that we've seen. But I'm talking like a still shot that's like back. I remember they used to have like these poster when I was at LSU, they'd have these poster sales that would come to the Union. And they'd say, these like we had a gigantic in our apartment, a Dave Matthews poster. It was like 5 feet long because that's
solid.
That's of course what preppy white kids did in 2000 and 2001. Everybody had Dave Matthews, like the whole Dave Matthews band. They're all there with like their backward caps and their cardigans and whatever, like squatting down by a pond.
Hacky sack.
Yeah, hacky sack, exactly. Oh my God. I did not hacky sack, by the way.
I don't buy it.
But name me another. No, seriously. But name me now. My brother, huge hacky sack guy. Name me another super iconic photo.
Derek Jeter.
Which one?
Just the one of him throwing across the hop,
Oh yeah, the
hop
jump.
he does.
Yeah.
That's
but
the
there's
only.
like one.
I really can't think of any other ones.
Again, I think that. Okay. I just Googled iconic sports photos.
Right. First one.
Ali Liston was the first one.
Yeah.
Brandy Chastain.
Oh yeah.
That's that. Everyone knows that. They do have Dwight Clark on there. The catch.
Okay.
Good call. David Tyree.
Oh yeah, the helmet.
There's some track and field ones. There's a Usain.
Probably the Jesse Owens one, maybe.
Not Usain Bolt, not Jesse Owens, but Usain Bolt looking smiling. And then they also have the LeBron D Wade.
How could I forget that one?
So, but my point is, like, just in having this conversation, we've realized it's very hard to identify the most famous sports photos ever, right?
Right.
So yes, Ali standing over Liston is, if not the most famous sports photo on the very short list of most famous sports photos ever. And Alondra has it as the wallpaper on her phone. And Musso did not know, he'd seen the photo, but didn't know who Ali was standing over, which is stunning to me that I didn't know that. So, all right, Alondra, give me your if you don't know Francis Ngannou, he's a mixed martial artist who was the heavyweight champion. He had a falling out with the UFC. He wanted more money, and so now he's going to go box and make $1 bajillion. A great heavyweight that's a total wrecking ball and is going to would be a hard stop for any heavyweight, John Jones included. But Tyson Fury is minus 1,400. He's
also Tyson Fury.
It's a different sport. It's a totally. Anyway, okay, give me your
thought. It is a different
thought.
sport. And I said, we talked about this yesterday, and I was like, Francis is pretty, he's strong. So unless he gets like a good solid hit on Tyson, which I don't really see that happening, I'm gonna go with Tyson.
Well, of course. I mean, Tyson Fury is going to win.
I'm
this
just
fight.
like, I've been waiting for Tyson versus Anthony Joshua, and I don't even think that's ever gonna happen.
Beck.
So I think the thing that really sucks for me about this is, man, I'm gonna watch it. It's gonna be exciting. I just really wish we could have got Ngannou and John Jones in the octagon, but
might still.
Yeah, maybe if he comes back, but he's got to deal with what's up?
I'm just saying, put this.
Oh,
on.
I got you. Okay. All right, we're watching the weigh-in right now, and Tyson Fury. This has got to be like the craziest thing of a dude that doesn't look like he's an athlete at all. I mean, he looks like he's a 45-year-old dad with a beer gut. But he's going to go out there, and he's probably the most technical heavyweight we've seen in probably, I don't know, the last 25 years, I guess. So,
and Francis Ngannou is a total unit.
He's a unit.
He's a unit.
Yeah.
Like you look
broke
at these
a door.
If this was hey, go into a bar room and scrap who's going to win, Francis Ngannou would destroy Tyson Fury.
100%.
Yes.
In a boxing match, this will not even be competitive.
No. You don't have to pay for it though.
Yeah,
I got you.
Thank you, Alondra.
We don't need to talk about that.
You're right. Alondra's going to sit there and put out there. She's got a legal stream she's going to send me. Thanks, Alondra. I appreciate
You're welcome.
I appreciate it very much.
Yep.
All right. It's after further review. I was going to do around the SEC there. We ended up talking about boxing. Just really quickly, Florida tight end Jonathan Odom. He's coming out of the concussion protocol, should be available for the Georgia game. South Carolina got a commit for 2025, a 3-star receiver named Jaden Sellers. And Kentucky keeping an eye on their basketball phenom. They call him Big Z. Zvonimir Ivisic. What? What are you laughing at, bro?
Those names just get me.
7'2", 220-pounder. He's from Croatia, and he's a projected lottery pick in this upcoming draft, but they're trying to get him eligible at Kentucky. If they get him eligible, Kentucky's a problem, but we'll see if they get him eligible. He's not eligible yet. Okay. Around the SEC is presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. We always appreciate our friend Trey Beal and the guys over at Gulf Coast Office Products that do awesome work. GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products, the official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Pelicans, the ULL Raging Cajuns, and the Baton Rouge Zydeco, the new hockey team, which debuted last night. Did they win last night? Did the Zydeco win? They lost.
They lost.
Oh, what a bummer.
6-3.
Yeah. Keep on keeping on there. 6-3. Oh, a lot of offense. How about that? 6-3. Okay, 6-3, the final score of the very first LSU baseball national championship back in 1991. They beat Wichita State. It's funny how, what?
It's just funny that you remember that exact, that score reminds you of that.
Whenever I hear the score 6-3, that's the first thing I always immediately think of is 91. First national championship LSU won. Chad Ogier running out to see Rick Green, who's doing the thing.
Iconic photo there. Definitely a top Louisiana photo.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Right up there. All right, it's after further review. Alondra will do Tigers and the Pros next. Stay here.
AFR.
Love telling you about Glow Resources. Y'all get to the website, glowresources.com, G-L-O, glowresources.com. I'm specifically speaking to business owners. Business owners who are tired of the headache of trying to hire good, competent people that are going to make your business more efficient. At Glow Resources, yes, they specialize in skilled blue-collar workers, if it's welders or crane operators, but they also manage the administrative side as well. Maritime is huge. Service companies, appliance companies, civil construction, they do it all. And Glow also has a professional placement division, and they source people from all over the world. It's Glow Resources, G-L-O, glowresources.com. Stop guessing in the hiring process. Be more efficient. Get it right the first time. At Glow, they also have a 60-day guarantee. If the employee they hire doesn't work out within 60 days, they'll find you a new employee free, or they'll give you a prorated refund. It's Glow Resources.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Scooncha fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. all of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of Front to Back Boat Service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Rolling along here on a Football Friday edition of AFR. We're glad you're hanging out. No Terrio today. I know a lot of people are expecting Terrio on Friday, but senior night for the Dunham School for football, and so Houston Terrio going to play his final home game there for the Dunham Tigers. So Terrio's out there doing all the senior day festivities, but we'll have him back here next week for Bama. We will still do our picks. Terrio, I sent him the games. He sent me his picks. No excuses this year, Terrio. So we'll get to pick him coming up in the next hour. About 10 minutes from right now, Edgar Thompson, our buddy from the Orlando Sentinel, is going to be with us to preview the cocktail party. Edgar's covered the Gators for a long time. Do the Gators have it in them to pull the upset? We'll talk to Edgar here in about 10 minutes from right now. Right now, Alondra has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Keep it a little short today. Bucks versus Bills last night. Devin White had 5 tackles. He had 5 tackles in the game, but ultimately Bucks would drop that game at 24-18. And yesterday I mentioned that the 76ers were going to play last night. I said, keep an eye out for Javonte Smart. If you did, you were disappointed. So there's that. And
what did he do?
He didn't do anything. So he didn't.
Well, you said see if Javonte Smart might get the start in that one, which clearly Javonte Smart's not going to be a starting player in the NBA. Did he play at all?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the important note, Alondra. We need the relevant notes here. Did he actually see time?
Yeah.
So he's a DNP coach's decision.
Right.
All right, but he's still on the roster.
And also, you got a former player in the World Series tonight, Josh Smith. Rangers, Diamondbacks tonight at I believe 7.
You believe 7?
I believe 7.
Alondra, come on! You gotta get the time. You gotta get first pitch time.
I don't know if it's Eastern or Central.
7:03.
Central or East?
Central.
Okay,
7:03 Central.
That was my issue.
On Fox.
That was my problem. I didn't know if it was Central or Eastern.
I mean, what are you talking about?
Like, I know we're Central. I didn't know what the website was showing me. Like, I didn't know if it was showing me Eastern time or Central time. You know what I mean?
No.
I don't know how I can make it more clear.
I don't know how you could miss that there is some annotation on there that would suggest, that would tell, not suggest, it would clearly tell you if it's Eastern or Central. What website are you on?
It was ESPN earlier. I'm not on one right now.
Beck, pull this up. Here's ESPN.com. I'm on the MLB page on ESPN. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in right here.
Does it say Central?
Fox, 7:03 p.m. Central. CT. Texas, a -160 favorite.
There we go.
Alondra.
Yeah, we got 2 minutes. So that was Tigers in the pros.
Presented. That is Alondra saying, please save me from myself right now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, the holidays are almost here. Make sure this Christmas, thrill her with a gift in the red box under the tree from Lee Michaels. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. A gorgeous selection of the best diamonds in the world. Mr. Scott Berg just got back from an overseas trip buying diamonds, the finest diamonds in the world. And when you're Lee Michaels and you have 9 locations, because you're buying in bulk, you're going to get the best prices, which they can then, of course, pass on to you. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge and all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged for more than 30 years. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. All right, it's after further review. We're glad that you're hanging out with us here. Beck, do you have a thought on World Series, Game 1 tonight, Diamondbacks, Rangers?
I like the Rangers.
Do you like the Rangers in the series?
Yes.
How many games?
6.
Are you just guessing, or have you given this any thought at all?
No, I've thought about it a little bit. I think the Diamondbacks they're so much further over their skis than anyone would have expected them to reach here. The Rangers have been really good all year. The Diamondbacks got into the playoffs because Seiya Suzuki dropped a fly ball for the Cubs.
And sometimes that's what it takes. I'm picking the Diamondbacks to win the World Series.
All right,
fair
7. Enough.
Diamondbacks in 7. This feels so much like when Washington won the World Series. And it was like they had no business being in the postseason, let alone getting to the World Series. And
Cardinals in 06, kind of the same way. They weren't very good.
Cardinals in 2011. I mean, that's Terrio's given that. It was on that team. He's given that example a ton. It was the same thing. Like they had to win the play-in game to get in, and then went on and won the World Series. Sometimes it's just your year. I think Arizona wins it. All right, it's after further review. Sports Center's coming up. After Sports Center, we'll head down to Jacksonville, check in with Edgar Thompson and preview Florida, Georgia. Stay here.
AFR.
Mold Zero is now Pure Restoration. Pure-restoration.com. Louisiana is the mold capital of the world. Seriously. The mixture of moisture and humidity is a breeding ground for mold. Go into almost any public building, look up at the air vents, and look at the little black dots all around. That's mold. Same thing could happen at your home, be maybe by the air vents, on the wall that's visible, or inside the walls that's not visible. Take care of mold. Let Pure Restoration help you. Pure-restoration.com. They have a patented, non-toxic dry fog. Because it's a fog, it'll get into every nook and cranny, and because it's a dry fog, you don't have to clear out your house. You don't have to move furniture or cut sheetrock or anything. Mold Zero is now Pure Restoration. General contractors that can handle demo and build back as well. Pure-restoration.com. Pure-restoration.com.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Game 1 of the World Series in Arlington, Texas tonight. Nathan Eovaldi starts for the Rangers. Zach Gallen goes for the Diamondbacks. In 12 postseason games this year, Rangers outfielder Adolis Garcia is hitting .327, leading Texas with 7 home runs and 20 runs batted in. ESPN's Alden Gonzalez.
There's always been this undying belief that regardless of the circumstances in his career, he was going to get to a moment like this, and he was going to be good enough to thrive in a moment like this. But I think we also need to reference the fact that Adolis Garcia is a much better hitter than he even was at this point last year.
Alden Gonzalez, our coverage of Game 1 starts at 7 Eastern here on ESPN Radio. Chiefs wideout Justin Ross goes on the NFL Commissioner's exempt list. Ross was arrested this week and pleaded not guilty on multiple charges, including domestic battery. Phoenix Mercury center Brittany Griner wins the WNBA Cares Community Assist Award. She was recognized for work helping wrongfully detained Americans around the world.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Jacob Beck. Alondra Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us on this Football Friday. Tigers are off. The Saints are off to Indy to take on the Colts. There's a big one down in Jacksonville, of course, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. That is to what we will still refer it. Our buddy Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinels covered the Gators for a long time. He's down there in Jacksonville to cover the game. Good enough to give us a few minutes here. Edgar, we always appreciate it, man. How are you?
Happy to do it, Matt. I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. Beautiful day here in Gainesville.
So you're still in Gainesville? You'll make the drive tomorrow to Jacksonville?
I don't need to be in the mall over there, man. I drive over, cover it, and drive back.
I love it, man. Hey, I want to start with what's gotten into Graham Mertz. The offense was not good early, and I know Kirby said this week that over the past couple of weeks, he's maybe been the best quarterback in the country. Threw for 423 yards against South Carolina the last time we saw the Gators. What's gotten into Graham Mertz?
I tell you, I just think the guy found a new lease on life here at Florida. He came out of high school in 2019 with a ton of hype, very highly rated guy. I think ESPN might have had him as the number one pocket passer in the nation then when he went to Wisconsin. He was certainly the highest rated QB the Badgers had ever signed, and it just never really went that way. His first game, he was 20 of 21 against Illinois, and it was all downhill from there. He got COVID, I think, after that game, and it never really was consistent. He comes here, and he's just he's playing in a system that maybe doesn't ask him to do some of the things he did at Wisconsin or allows him to do some things he wasn't allowed to do at Wisconsin. I'm not sure which it is, but his decision-making's been sharp. His accuracy's been phenomenal. He's 73 and change, leads the SEC in completion percentage. The last 2 games, as you said, he's 6 TDs, no picks. At Wisconsin, he was 38 and 26. So the touchdown-interception ratio right now, he's 12-2 overall. He's just taking care of the ball. In the last couple of games particularly, he's been able to go downfield a little bit more. It was maybe more east-west. Now he's going a little more north-south. But again, Vanderbilt and South Carolina are pretty vulnerable defenses. In fact, South Carolina's last in the nation against the pass. Georgia's not that. Georgia's number 1 in the league. Not what it's been, but still quite formidable. So we'll see if he can keep it going here. But one big factor, I'll end on this, is some young guys, Eugene Wilson III, Arliss Fordingham in particular, have really emerged. And Ricky Pearsall is playing as well as almost any receiver in the league. So he has a few weapons out there and is doing what they need him to do. We'll see if he can keep it up, though, because it gets tougher.
So you did mention it, and it's fair to mention that the last 2 games were against Vanderbilt and South Carolina. How much of Graham Mertz's emergence is Graham Mertz is playing really well? How much of it was Vanderbilt and South Carolina?
There's certainly, it's probably a combination of both, but you take your opportunities where you can get them. And Georgia's not what it's been. That doesn't mean they're not still the best team in the league, because they were such a cut above, or at least in the East, they were such a cut above, and still, here's the deal, man. They've trailed by a touchdown in 3 games against teams with a 1-10 overall SEC record right now. Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and Auburn. This is Georgia. But they blew the doors off Kentucky the week after Kentucky blew the doors off the Gators. So college football is harder to read now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Am I wrong? It feels like it's a little harder to read, whether it's the portal and NIL. I don't know. But it seems like there's a little more parity. Georgia seems to come back to the pack a little bit more and has its own challenges coming up like the Gators do. But I think Graham Mertz is definitely a more confident and better player than he was at Wisconsin. He seems to be thriving in the system with Billy. Confidence goes a long way in sports, as we know. We've been covering sports a long time, and that does matter. But team and execution matter a lot, too, and we'll see, because, you're going against Will Muschamp, Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann, and that's like a pretty formidable triumvirate defensively with the coaching staff there with the Bulldogs.
Edgar Thompson is our guest. Orlando Sentinel, covers the Gators. He's on Twitter at OS Gators, as in Orlando Sentinel, at OS Gators. What about that Florida defense? We know that there's no Brock Bowers, and so I think there's a lot of people expecting Georgia's offense to not be great. Is Florida defensively ready to go make this a game?
Big question. Florida started off this year coming off a horrendous defensive season, and historically bad in many ways. The third down defense is third from last in the nation. I mean, I was 50% conversion rate against Florida on third down, which is horrid. Now it's 29%, 10th in the nation. So that's been a huge change right there. One thing Austin Armstrong was expected to do is get after the passer. The Gators are last in the league with 11 sacks. Now, interestingly, Georgia has 12, which is next, but South Carolina and Vanderbilt are the next 2 and got to Mertz 7 times, which is something I was going to mention with Graham Mertz. They better protect him, because Georgia, could put him on his seat a few times, if not put him on the bench, because he's taken some punishment. But in Florida's case, it's going to need to get to Carson Beck, who's pretty athletic, pretty elusive guy, and a talented thrower. But no Brock Bowers certainly is creates more of a challenge for Georgia. But Oscar Delp was a top recruited tight end in the nation, or number 1 recruit 2 years ago, and will step in for him and has size, speed, and a lot of tools. But Brock Bowers is a generational player, as Billy said 2 days ago. They have some receivers in the run game at Georgia. Might not be what it's been. There's no Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb. The list goes on back there. But, DeAndre Swift or whoever you want to pick, but they still are talented there, and the line's still going to be good. They've been stacking classes for years there. Years. Since 2017, they have a top tier recruiting class every year, Matt, but one, and they were 4 that year, and that was 2021. Florida has not had a top 5 class since 2014. So when it comes to talent, Georgia is not in short supply, and you got to figure there's going to be some plug and play aspects there to the Bulldogs.
Edgar, what's the temperature like right now around Billy Napier?
It wasn't great. I mean, if you're saying hot seat or cold shoulder, I mean, it was both recently. I don't think the hot seat's been in play truly, but a lot of Florida fans, I mean, that's not reality. Florida fans are very impatient. Fan bases in general are. They're very impatient here. And I think you got to give Billy Napier through 2025, period. We got to be sitting at the Florida-Georgia game in 2025 and things still not gaining traction to say, okay, what's going to happen? Wow. You got to give him that. Because he's got to be able to get some recruiting classes going. He has a number 3 class right now with a bunch of good guys coming in 2024 if he can maintain the class, which looks like he will. We'll see. But, a lot of people are wringing their hands. I think there's fair criticism, and I've certainly delivered some myself about the offense, about how it's looked a lot of the times, about the play calling. That seems to be coming around in the passing game. The run game hasn't been as good. The offensive line, there were some misses in the portal that are kind of holding them back. I think he's going to have to do a really good job in the portal coming up soon when it opens. Get some offensive line, some veteran guys in here, develop a couple of these young players they had in the last class that are promising guys, and, really get that unit going because that's critical. So people are giving him time that matter around here, but there are plenty of fans that already are kind of checking out. Bottom line is they can really do themselves a huge favor by being very competitive this week. I mean, an upset would be one of the biggest in Florida history. I was actually going to research that to see where beating Georgia would stand. I think Florida's played 18 previous number 1 teams, and they're 3-15, so they don't beat the number 1 team often. They've never done that in rank. So it would be a monumental upset for Florida, obviously. It would turbocharge the rebuild. Even a competitive game would be nice. Beat Arkansas next week, you have bowl eligibility, and then you have 3 games, including LSU in a few weeks. And, we'll see where that goes. But Billy's got to do something these next 5 games. You go 1-4, you finish 6-6, and people are going to be like, yeah, it's kind of not great. You go 7-5, people might be okay, and you go 8-4, and people are going to be like, okay, maybe we got a little something going here.
Edgar, I mean, I can think of 2 wins over number 1s right off the top of my head. The 2006 national championship against Ohio State would have to be one.
That was one. They beat Oklahoma in 08, maybe too.
But Florida was undefeated in 08. Oklahoma wasn't. No, Oklahoma. Oh, sorry, Florida. No, sorry, Florida lost to Ole Miss that year, of course. So that would be the other one I was thinking of. And there has to be one against Florida State, just one of those 90s matchups against Florida State where Florida State was number 1. Like maybe the 96 Florida State game?
Probably, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like they played 18 of them. I mean, this is in their release, so don't quote me on it. It's Florida's research, not mine. But yeah, it's in the unranked, they have never done it.
Yeah.
The Gators.
The 3 we just mentioned were all national championship games.
Exactly, and this is a Herculean task ahead, regardless of what the state of Georgia is right now. Yeah. I just am not looking at this is not the kind of the game this is the one game coming into the season out of 12 where you were like definite loss, and then maybe there was a couple LSU, a lot of people thought that was probably a loss. And now you look at it and you're like, yeah, LSU's defense, they're not great, but man, you got to slow down Jaden Daniels and getting a shootout with him. At Missouri's better than anyone thought they were going to be, one of the most improved teams in the country, and a lot of playmakers there. And then Florida State in the swamp, it'll be raucous.
Yeah.
Florida State, it's a challenge, to come in the swamp and win, especially if you're Florida State. But man, it's a tough road ahead for them. And conversely, Georgia's road ahead is brutal. I mean, Georgia has, Ole Miss coming up, has Tennessee coming up, has Missouri coming up. So they have some challenges ahead, too, the Bulldogs, to continue this 24-game winning streak they're on.
Edgar Thompson, Orlando Sentinel on Twitter at OS Gators. A little short on time here, Edgar, but if Florida does pull the upset, how do you think it looks?
Well, the turnover battle, they won 3-0 last year and still lost by 22. But I'll tell you what happened last year
what a number.
Slow. Last year, 4 3-and-out possessions and a punt on the fifth possession to start, and you're down 21-0 before you know it. So you can't start slowly. You can't do what Florida did at both Kentucky and Utah, which is slow starts, a lot of mistakes, mental errors, and getting these holes that they got in and couldn't dig themselves out. Sure, you need to be opportunistic with some takeaways. Florida has 4. Only 2 teams in the nation have fewer than 4 turnovers. So they need a takeaway or 2. And you really need some big plays. Whether you get them on special teams, whether you get them on defense, whether you get them on offense, you need some chunk plays. You're not going to line up sustained drives against Georgia because you're going to make some mistakes or you're going to run out. You're not going to convert. So there's just a lot of challenges. And then the last thing, you got to slow down Georgia on third down. Now, Brock Bowers played a huge role in that. I don't know that Carson Beck's quite getting his due. I'm going around picking out photos for stories this week, and you see a lot of them with Beck, throwing a little jump pass, doing a little sidearm. He's pretty crafty and pretty athletic and a talented kid who Dan Mullen had the crosshairs on until he switched off and brought in Anthony Richardson, who ended up being a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. So, and a local kid. So Beck is a talented kid. So you got to just lean toward the Bulldogs in this game. But I do think the Gators could cover the 14.5. In fact, I think they will. But, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be an interesting one because the last several haven't been.
I'm hoping for a competitive game, too, man. LSU's got a bye, so I'll just be sitting on the couch watching football all day. Edgar Thompson will be there in Jacksonville. Hey, man, we appreciate a couple of minutes. Thanks as always.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me.
Our pleasure. That's Edgar Thompson, again, on Twitter at OS Gators, if you want to give him a follow. Edgar does a great job. He's covered the Gators forever, been a good friend of the show for a long time. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Mel Kiper has put out his new big board, and there's a few interesting things from my perspective, not only in the big board, but the top 10 rankings of each position for this upcoming draft and what that says about this LSU roster. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find them. Agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Remind you again that the program that changed the real estate market in Baton Rouge is back. It's the Guaranteed Sale Program with Darren James. Actually, as we like to call it, the Darrenteed Sale Program. Works like this. Thinking about selling your home? Call Darren James. I'm going to give you a cell phone number in just a second. Call Darren. He'll sit down with you. You'll agree to a price and a deadline. If Darren doesn't sell your home at that price, by that deadline, he'll have your home bought with cash, or he'll sell it absolutely free for his half of the commission. You got nothing to lose. You just got to start packing. Call Darren James right now. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job? You can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of Front to Back Boat Service.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
His name was Cain. He had a horse.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, Terrio is not here, but in the name of fairness, because he accuses me of cheating every year during the Pick'em, we're gonna have games to pick this week, and I sent him the list of games and for him to send me his pick. So let's do this quickly. Alondra, the music bed, if you would, please. All right. Beck, let's look at how we did last week, if you would. All right. So last week in our 10 games, I went 5-5. Terrio went 6-4. So he gained a game back. So I am 55-30. Terrio is 51-34. So I have a 4-game lead on Terrio right now. Erica, incidentally, went 7-3 last week. So Erica last week beat both Ryan and me. Russ Mitchell still atop the leaderboard at 9-1, and Russ should have been 10-0. The only game he missed was the week whoever they played in week 4. He just refused to pick A&M on principle. He should have picked A&M. I don't remember who the game was against, but had he picked A&M, he would have gone 10-0, which I don't think has ever happened with our guest picker. But he just on principle wouldn't pick the Aggies. So
respect.
I guess. Or, hey, that's stupid. How about you just try to win? You know, that's what I would do.
That was Auburn. Auburn game. Texas A&M Auburn.
Okay. I don't know.
And he
why.
must have picked Auburn, I guess. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, he picked Auburn.
Week 4?
Yeah, week 4. Auburn won, yeah. Or A&M won, sorry.
I'm trying to remember that game. Was that in College Station?
27-10. Yeah, it was in College Station.
All right, here we go. So we got 10 games. Beck can be our picker today. We have eschewed the celebrity guest picker because Terrio got lazy and decided he wasn't going to try to get celebrities again. He had Tony La Russa week 1 for Florida State and then just quit trying. So anyway, Beck, you can be our guest picker. We'll just drop the celebrity on guest picker and just go with guest picker. All right, Oklahoma at Kansas. Beck.
I will take the Sooners.
All right, Terrio had the Sooners, as do I. South Carolina at Texas A&M.
I'll take the Gamecocks.
Okay, really?
Yes.
Why? I'm curious.
I think, look, Spencer Rattler he's played well all season. I think
put yourself on camera while you're talking.
That's a good idea.
Yep, there you go.
I'm learning.
It's okay.
And I think Spencer Rattler is going to take over this game, and I think they're going to win it.
Or you know what you can do boxes, so you stay on camera and I stay on camera the whole time. There you go. Look, I'm just here to help. All right. By the way, Terrio had A&M. I have A&M as well. South Carolina is the worst passing defense in America. I know A&M is offensively challenged, but South Carolina can't stop nobody. The game's in College Station. I will take the Aggies to win it. Georgia, Florida cocktail party. Terrio and I are both going Georgia. Are you picking an upset?
No.
Okay, we're all three going Georgia. Utah at Oregon. No, I'm sorry. Oregon at Utah. Man, Rice Eccles, bro. That's a tough place to play. What you got?
I'm going to go with the Ducks. I don't think Utah will be able to keep up on offense. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Utah's going to play well, but Bo Nix in that offense, man. I don't see any way Utah can keep up with them.
Terrio picked Oregon as well. Utah's a different team at home, man. God, I want to pick them so bad. I just want to give back a game to Terrio in case if I go blindly into that one and pull an upset.
Oregon 6.5 favorite there.
I know. See, that's where I got to play defense a little bit in this one. You know, if I'm not sure, then I just got to play a little defense. I'll take the Ducks. That's what I'm telling you. I love Utah and the points in that game, and I would not be surprised at all if Utah wins. They are just Utah and Oregon State are different teams at home. Like Phil Steele told us his number. Oregon State's like 19-1 in their last 20 at home straight up, and 19-1 against the spread. Oregon State don't lose at home. It's crazy. That little crappy stadium.
Yeah, what is it?
Reser Stadium.
It's like 40,000, 50,000.
It's less than that because they got one whole side that, like, as they were doing construction, one whole side wasn't even usable. It's like a 32,000. It's like Memorial Stadium in Baton Rouge. Nobody can win there. Mississippi State at Auburn. Beck.
I'll take the Tigers.
All right, we're all going Auburn there. I'm trying to tell y'all Zach Arnett was a mistake. Like, he is a terrible football coach. Cannot believe, like, the fact that Mississippi State people sold themselves on Zach Arnett. I mean,
it was a tough situation.
I get it. But, I mean, fans. But, yes, for the administration, take your time.
Yeah.
If ever you had a grace period to take your time. Anyway, I picked Mississippi State dead last in the West this year. It looks like I'm going to be wrong because State beat Arkansas last year in the worst game we've seen in a decade in the SEC, in that pillow fight. But they're going to be like 7A, 7B. At the bottom of the they're both terrible. So yes, I'll take Auburn also. Iowa State at Baylor. Beck.
Baylor has turned the season around a little bit. They were struggling a lot. I mean, they lost to Texas State and TJ Finley in the season opener.
I know.
I feel like Dave Aranda's kind of coaching for his job right now, and I think Baylor is going to get it done. So I'll take the Bears.
Terrio's got Iowa State. I'm also going to take Iowa State in this game. Matt Campbell's still a good coach. Iowa State's found it a little bit after the year they had Brock Purdy and Breece Hall.
Yeah.
I mean, it was supposed to be their year to go kaboom, and they fell short, and then they struggled last year. But Matt Campbell's a good coach. They've steadied themselves a little bit. I do think Iowa State wins on the road at Baylor. Terrio had Iowa State as well. Kentucky hosting Tennessee.
Volunteers. That's easy.
Terrio is going Kentucky.
I think he's assuming you're going to go Tennessee there, and he wants to try to get a game on you.
Maybe, but that's a short line as well. I don't know if you're looking at it. It's maybe a field goal.
Yeah,
around there.
I think it was 6 the last time I checked.
I don't think it's that big. I think it's around 3. If you see it, let me know. But I'm taking
4.
4. Okay, I'm taking Tennessee in that game as well. Kentucky can't move the ball, and Tennessee, it's so weird. We all think of Tennessee because of the offense last year. Tennessee
they're different.
Run the ball, play defense this year. Like, they are just a categorically different looking team than they were a year ago. Like, they're not going as fast because they don't have Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt and Brew McCoy and that whole crew that was incredible last year. So anyway, yes, I like the Vols to win in Lexington because the Kentucky can't score. Duke at Louisville.
That's a tough one for me. I mean, Louisville coming off that big win in Notre Dame.
It's Louisville.
Louisville, sorry.
Louisville, yeah.
Louisville.
Anyway,
I'll take the Cardinals. I think Duke is really good, but Louisville's played really well this season. I like Louisville.
Louisville's also been great at home this season. This game, if this game was at Duke, I'd probably pick Duke, but I'll take Louisville. Terrio at Louisville as well. All right, 2 more. Cincinnati at Oklahoma State.
I'll take the Man 40s.
Okay, we're all going Okie State and Ohio State at Wisconsin. Night game, Camp Randall, jump around, House of Pain. Ohio State's they get Travion Henderson back. That Ohio State offense, bro, it ain't been all that in the bag of potato chips, bro. Like, this is one where I go, man, if you want to look for a spot
coming off that big win against Penn State.
Bro, you're looking at one. I mean, you're looking at, man, where's that letdown spot? I mean, big, like you just said, big. Now you got to go on the road.
Wisconsin's got a good defense. I like.
But you're taking Ohio State.
Sorry, no. I'm taking Wisconsin.
Are you really?
Yeah,
I convinced you to take Wisconsin.
No, I really like Wisconsin anyway. I've always liked them, but I'm taking the Badgers. I mean, it's a 14.5-point line, so that's pretty big. But
big line.
At home, man, Wisconsin, a big letdown spot for Ohio State, so I'll take Wisconsin.
What's the total in this game?
46.
Under.
Yes.
The only reason I'm not picking Wisconsin is because I watched Wisconsin play Iowa, and the final score was 12-10, or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the total was 31, and it didn't even sniff the total. So I just don't think Wisconsin can score. Wisconsin's going to stop A&M or Ohio State from scoring.
Yes.
Wisconsin just can't score.
No.
Okay. There you have it. There's our pick 'em. So thank you to our celebrity guest picker, Jacob Beck.
You're welcome.
For filling in there. Phenomenal job. I thought you really nailed it. Good job. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com, Traction, where champions are made. Keep reminding you, y'all, if parents are trying to look for something for your kiddos to do during the holidays, remember, Traction's got their holiday camp schedule, the holiday baseball camps, the catcher and infield programs. I think those actually are full. And then the holiday speed camps as well. There are full and half-day options. So if you're thinking, man, what am I going to do with my son or my daughter during Thanksgiving break? Send them to Traction. Full and half-day options. Let them go to get baseball skill training or speed training at Traction. You can register right now at TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com for the Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's camps. The holidays are upon us. Get your son or daughter registered now, age 5 to 12. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Okay, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Two things left to do. We'll wrap up the show in about 15 minutes with Ask Us. Thanks for hanging out. Again, if you're just joining us, wondering where's Terrio, it is a senior night for Dunham football. So Houston Terrio playing his final home game. So Ryan's there doing all the senior night festivities. So we miss him today, but he'll be back next week. And so we still got a lot to do. When we come back, I'll give you a Saints-Colts prediction. I do want to get to the latest Kuiper billboard, big board, excuse me. So we'll get to both of those things, and we'll wrap up the show in about 15 minutes with Ask Us. So if you got questions for me, Alondra, or Beck, you can fire away, tweet us, email us, text in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Okay, well, now I got a quick break. Come back, and we'll give you a final preview and pick on Saints and Colts. Stick around.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. You know, we tell you all the time that Gordon is such a great supporter of all the local teams. And you've seen that through all of the G team programs that he's done. Well, he's expanded the G team as well now to the entire BRCC. That's the Baton Rouge Community College men's basketball program. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys, now an official sponsor of the Baton Rouge Community College men's basketball program. And the home opener is coming up next week, Wednesday, November the 1st, 6 p.m. right there at BRCC. And it's Our Lady of the Lake Health Night as well. So if you're interested in tickets or any of that stuff, or learning more about BRCC and the partnership there with Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, you can go to any of their social media accounts to find it there. Of course, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. You need representation. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Running Bart's marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Board's marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
A mock draft. The big board is a ranking of the top prospects in the draft. So Kuiper's big board is the top 25 prospects in the country. I don't think it's any surprise to anyone that he's got Caleb Williams ranked number 1 overall on his big board, and I can't see anything changing that between now and the draft. Caleb Williams has kind of been that consensus top prospect that everybody is sort of vying for here at the top of the draft. So Mel Kiper's got Caleb Williams number 1 on his big board. And he's got Marvin Harrison Jr. number 2, and then Drake May number 3. That actually kind of falls in line with what we've seen with a lot of mock drafts here of late. There is one LSU Tiger, and it's the player that we would all assume would be here, and he's got Malik Neighbors number 12 on his big board, so ranked number 12 as the 12th best prospect in this draft. 1 spot ahead of Joe Alt, the big offensive tackle from Notre Dame. The biggest surprise on this list is who comes in at number 16. How about the name Landon Jackson? Landon Jackson, of course, who we had a great chance to talk to at SEC Media Days. I got to do a one-on-one with Landon. Landon is from Texarkana, who started his career at LSU, tore his ACL, unfortunately, and it never really materialized here. He transferred to Arkansas and has had a fantastic season. He had 3.5 sacks in their game against Alabama in Week 7. So Landon Jackson has seen his star elevated. The interesting thing about Landon, I remember, is talking to coaches at the time, was that he's such a big guy, like 6'7", 280, but he's very stiff. So not a guy that was ever going to bend the edge, but more of a big end. But if you're looking in a 3-4 for that traditional sort of like big end where like Ali Gay played a year ago, that could be a spot for Landon Jackson. But you wish, he's a great young guy, man, so you wish the best for him. So glad to see that. So Kuiper also ranks the top 10 players at every position, and there's only 3 LSU players. He's got Malik Neighbors as the 4th best wide receiver, Mekhi Wingo is the 7th best defensive tackle, and Jaden Daniels as the 8th best quarterback. This is the thing that surprises me, and I hope this isn't a purple and gold sunglasses take, but at some point, you have to start to trust what you see on film. And it can't be what your preconceived notions were. The best example that I can give that's relevant here is Joe Burrow, of course. And please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that Jaden Daniels is Joe Burrow. But here's the point I'm making. And I remember this because we talked about this a lot before that 2020 draft where Burrow went number 1. That offseason, so the offseason between the 2018 and 2019 seasons, when you go back and look at the mock drafts before the 2019 season, Joe Burrow was roundly projected as a late day 3 pick, like around 5, 6, 7 pick is kind of where he was projected going into the 2019 season. Well, he ends up going first overall. Why? Because you saw what he did in 2019. He was spectacular in every sense, not only with his accuracy, with his arm strength, with his decision-making, his toughness, his leadership, the intangibles, everything was there. You saw it. And I think you're seeing something similar with Jayden Daniels. I'm not saying that Jayden Daniels is having literally the greatest season any of us have ever seen in college football history. But what I'm saying is we're seeing a guy that is far outperforming what the projections were for him as a rising fifth-year player. So the quarterback ratings, as Kuiper has it, Caleb Williams is number 1, Drake May is number 2, Shedeur Sanders, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, Quinn Ewers, then Jayden Daniels, Riley Leonard, Michael Pratt. I can understand why Caleb Williams and Drake May would be number 1 and 2. Because when you're looking at prospects and you're projecting to the next level, there are certain things you're looking for as far as measurables. And there are going to be guys that go at the top of any draft because of those measurables. Mitchell Trubisky is a great example of that. He was a giant, strong-armed kid who checked every box, but when you actually looked at what he did on the field during his time in North Carolina, it didn't play. So it's not surprising that it didn't work out for him. Josh Allen was one of those guys who was a small school guy at Wyoming, but he went to the combine, and then you saw all of the raw ability matched with the intangibles, and you can understand why Josh Allen, Senior Bowl, rose up draft boards. And maybe that's what it's going to take for Jayden. Maybe it's going to take getting through the season and going to the combine and doing the interview process, probably going to the Senior Bowl as well, and then you're going to see him start to rise up draft boards. But quite honestly, with utmost respect for the job that Shedeur Sanders has done this year, because he has taken a beating behind a terrible offensive line. Michael Penix looks like a franchise quarterback. I can't get there with Bo Nix, and maybe it's just because I'm scarred from his time at Auburn. And J.J. McCarthy has done a whole lot of nothing. Like, respect, you're the quarterback of a team that's undefeated right now, but you have played absolutely filthy garbage teams, and you're just better than everyone. It kind of reminds me of Stetson Bennett a year ago. That's my what with J.J. McCarthy this year. Are they winning with you, or are they winning because of you? Well, with Stetson, they were winning with him. And with J.J. McCarthy, I kind of feel the same thing. I will gladly stand corrected if we get to a point in the season where he proves that he is that dude. I don't know if we'll have that opportunity. But Jayden has proven it. So, like, if I were thinking about it, what quarterbacks would I want if I'm drafting for my favorite team? I would still have Caleb Williams number 1 for all the reasons everybody has. And I could get down with saying Drake May number 2. I'm not so sure that there's a quarterback I'd take ahead of Jayden Daniels at number 3. I think Shedeur Sanders is fantastic. I would love to have seen him done it for more than just this one sort of half season at Colorado. Like, I would love it if Shedeur goes back to Colorado for another season. I'm not sure if that's in the cards, if he's going to be a top 10 pick or whatever it may be, but I'd love to see Shedeur with another season of major college football. I kind of think Penix and Jayden would be what for me after Caleb Williams, Drake May. But this will all play out in time, and we'll see how it goes. But it is interesting to watch and to keep an eye on where, like, I would take Jayden Daniels over Quinn Ewers in a heartbeat. J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, absolutely. I'd take Jayden Daniels over those guys today. So we'll keep an eye on it as we go through the season, get closer to draft day. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Not only windows, door, siding, but also shutters. So if you're going to buy custom windows from Relief Windows, why wouldn't you buy the custom shutters for those windows at Relief Windows as well? Get to the website, ReliefWindows.com. That's ReliefWindows.com. Remember, they'll always give you a free estimate at Relief Windows, and they never take $1 from you. Let me say this very clearly, so this isn't lost. At Relief Windows, they will not take a down payment. They will not take $1 from you. They will order your windows, custom windows, not windows that if you don't like them, they can go put them in a storage room and sell them to somebody else. Custom windows for your home. They will go order them, buy them, have them shipped here, then go install them. And when you're thrilled, then you pay them. Experience, quality, and service. That's Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. All right. We'll wrap up with Ask Us. So if you got a question for Alondra, Beck, or me, you can email us, tweet us, or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Let me do my Saints-Colts final pick here, and then we'll get to... no, let me do this. Let's break so I have time. I'll do my Saints-Colts pick, and then we'll get to Ask Us to wrap up next. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
All right, y'all. Before those cold temps come, make sure you call River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Look for the yellow vans and trucks all over town. And with a big clock on the side, you'll see them everywhere. Remember this, tomorrow, Saturday. If you have a problem with your home central AC or your heater, it's not keeping up, call River City's 1 Hour Air. Nights, holidays, weekends, they'll always come out, and they'll never charge you extra to come out. And right now, this is the time, y'all. This is the time. Before the cold weather comes, before you're cranking up your heater, before you got your heater running around the clock because you're trying to keep your home warm, call River City's 1 Hour Air now. Make sure your heater is safe and efficient for the coming cold weather. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, wrapping up here at Football Friday edition of AFR. Going to get to Ask Us here in just a quick second. Saints and Colts Sunday up in Indianapolis. This game opened with the Colts a slight point and a half favorite. It's moved toward the Saints being a favorite. It's right there at a virtual pick 'em. This is interesting because you have good on good and bad on bad. When the Saints have the football, the Saints are one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Colts are one of the worst defenses in the NFL. The Saints are 21st in scoring. The Colts are 30th in scoring defense. And on the flip side, the Saints defense is 7th in the NFL in scoring. The Colts offense is 6th in scoring. So when the Colts have the ball, it's good on good. When the Saints have the ball, it's bad on bad. My assumption is the Saints defense will play well because we've seen them play well. Really, what you got to be mindful of is the Colts' ability to run the ball. Jonathan Taylor has gotten going. We'll see if Zach Moss is healthy enough to play. It's going to really come down to that Saints run defense. Are they able to limit the Colts running game and make them a passing team with Gardner Minshew, and to see if the Saints can be very opportunistic? The Saints as a team are +3 in the turnover margin for the season. The Colts -2. So that might be the opportunity for New Orleans if you can win the turnover battle, steal a few possessions, and get your bad offense going, or with an advantageous situation, or, like you did a couple of times this year already, a defensive score against New England, a special team score against Green Bay. That could be what the Saints need, although that's really hard to predict something like that happening. The Saints have kind of owned the series. Saints have won 4 straight, dating back to the Super Bowl when the Saints beat the Colts down in Miami. That was the first of this 4-game winning streak that the Saints are on in this series. The last time they played was in 2019. None of that history actually matters, though, on Sunday up in Indianapolis. The truth is, these are two teams that are kind of going in different directions and two organizations that are going in different directions. You have a Colts team with Shane Steichen, who came over from Philadelphia and is trying to implement the same style of offense that they did there in Philly with Jalen Hurts, and has done so successfully until the injury to Anthony Richardson. But still, offensively, they've rarely missed a beat here with Gardner Minshew, and certainly they were very good last week, and if we're being very honest, got hosed in the game against Cleveland, where Cleveland was gifted a couple of extra red zone chances that they ultimately did convert there at the end of the game, that they eked out 39-38 in Indianapolis. But that does also go to illustrate the problems that Indy has had defensively and the opportunity potentially for the Saints offensively to get going. I just sort of lean defense in situations like that. So I think this is a defensive type game with the Saints and the Colts, and you look for an opportunity late. I think the line is probably right. And usually when it comes down to a coin flip like that, I look for things like quarterback, home field, head coach, who has the advantage. Well, I don't know that there's a real sincere advantage with either quarterback, and that might seem laughable because Derek Carr is a more experienced quarterback, but tell me right now that you're bought in on Derek Carr being a really good player and going and making plays to win the Saints a game in Indianapolis. I'm not there. And the game is in Indy, and then if you look at head coaches, you have a very young head coach, and you've got a head coach that's coached a lot of games but has proven to be a very bad head coach. So I understand why this one is a virtual toss-up because it's very hard to handicap. I'm going to go with the home team. I think Indy, after getting hosed last week, probably feels like they have a lot to play for at 3-4, two teams that are still in the mix in bad divisions. The Saints at 3-4 as well. The Saints are 2-2 away from home. The Colts just 1-3 at home. A lot of those metrics point to maybe the Saints finding a way to beat this team on the road in a close game. But until I see the Saints go do this, it's just hard to pull the trigger and say I think the Saints will go do this. So I'll take the Colts in a close game to beat the Saints up in Indianapolis. Saints' woes continue. We'll see if they can maybe get right next week at home against the Chicago Bears. All right, it's after further review. Lodger, can you hit me with our little, do we have Ask Us Ben? Yeah, that'll work. know how that played, but the year before, that bowl game before, I bet $1,000 on the cover, and it was a rocking chair. They crushed it. Eric Gotro, ask Alondra, STP, Rage, or Audio Slave?
STP.
And you told us today Scott Weiland's birthday?
It's his birthday today.
Did we find out how old he would have been?
I did not find that. I think like in his 60s or like something.
Hey Siri, how old is Scott Weiland? So he died at 48. How long ago did he die?
2017?
6 years ago.
He's
So
in
in
his
early
mid-50s.
All right. Oh, we're late. Go hit it.
AFR.
Don't let me go long, bro. This is an adjacency.
I didn't let you.
We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. Hey, write this date down. Remember it. Put it in your phone. Tell Siri to remember it. Whatever you got to do. Monday, November the 13th. Let me make sure that's a Monday. I think it's right. Yes, Monday, November the 13th. There's going to be an open house at the Williamson Eye Center. The location right there in front of the Baton Rouge General Hospital on Bluebonnet. Dr. Blake will be there. Doctors, they'll all be there. I'll be there. It's very informal. I think they're even talking about like sipping some bourbon, just very low key. Come get some questions answered, learn more about LASIK. We'd love to see you there. Monday, November the 13th at the Williamson Eye Center on Suma, just